At it.
NJ, who Kelly brake checked at the corner, and NJ span. So,
Kelly
scores both incidents down.
Qualifying ban for Kelly.
Kelly DQing 2 drivers in one night. Fucking hell.
Well, I'm better off not being at the front anyway. So,
and have you noticed?
Qualifying ban, bring it on.
Hey Dan, have you noticed this one? Daniel Francis, who had a few run-ins with last season, and NJ, who he had a few run-ins with last season, are both the victims who got disqualified through Kelly's shit. Oh,
yeah, well, happy days.
Interesting one, that one, isn't it?
And funnily enough, neither of them are having a tantrum at me. Although Daniel Francis has mentioned
need to go more into investigation into this. I think we need to get more evidence.
I think you need to shut the fuck up, Daniel.
I think we need to review season 3, go back and just check all the incidences back over again. We've been giving Kelly the benefit of the doubt, and now, oh my god, you know?
Fucking whatever.
When I got rid of Dan as a steward because I was favouritising Kelly, well, it's just all bullshit now, isn't it?
Mate, listen, I'm always on the wrong side of right.
Always on the you fucking dick.
No way, he's so bad.
No bad, Jamie, dear.
Yeah, his brother's got COVID, so he can't race.
Yeah, because it works like that.
And then he says, you weren't feeling too great or something.
No, I'm not. I had my second jab yesterday and now.
Yeah, he said he had his second jab, and he's felt a bit funny from it. Me and Beth had our second jab Tuesday, and we felt fine.
It's just different for different people.
Fucking pansies. Although the woman, the woman when I sat down did shit me up. She says, "I've got to tell you this because there's this fact changed. 1 in a million men have inflation of the heart," and I'm sat there like, "Oh yeah, fucking cheers!" As I'm about to get my second bastard jab, you cunt. Can I have the switch, please, babe? Can I have the switch, please, baby?
Can I have the switch, please, baby? Oh!
Please, babe. Oh, babe!
No. Mate, get out the window, you pure minter, man.
You are, babe?
I didn't get a word of that.
Peaceful explosion!
Didn't get a word of that either.
Get me, baby!
Oh, that's so broken.
That one sounds paedophilic.
Fucking something wrong with that boy.
So, well,
It must be I dropped him on his fucking head.
You what, Maz?
At least he's good points for the title already against Jamie.
Hey, I mean, D Biggs misses next week, so it balances it out for Shake and Bake and Iron Brew Racing for the constructors. Can't see any other team winning it.
Kelly!
Why? You gotta think of getting quicker.
That's just too weird.
Don't know. GQ Motorsport, I don't think are consistent enough, to be honest with you.
But if you get that there.
It's not getting that there, it's getting them there. One of them especially.
Well, at least the car makes it, doesn't it? He might not, but car will.
Look, all we better hope for is a dry calendar. Can't race in the wet, we'll have to postpone it and push it back a week.
Do 2 laps, can you?
What, give half points?
Someone's actually suggested that for Formula 1, hasn't they?
Do what?
Someone actually suggested maybe this time they should look at not doing wet races. It's like, what?
For fuck's sake. Somebody posted up, I can't remember where it was.
Racing thingy that won't do wet races as such.
I think it was on the touring car page where it had one of those little fucking, what they called, mirrors or whatever they're called.
I mean, apparently Indy cars don't do wet.
No, they don't.
That's because they're going like 200 mile an hour on an oval.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah,
they do now, they never used to do them at all. NASCAR don't do wet, do they?
Yeah, they do.
NASCAR don't do them, not on the ovals.
Yeah, they do.
I've seen
NASCAR do wet.
I've seen a NASCAR in the wet.
Oh, is
I've seen a NASCAR.
Someone posted
what NASCAR do you watch?
Indy don't do it on the
racetracks.
Indy then don't do it on the ovals. They do it on the road course.
They don't do it on ovals, but they do it on racetracks.
Yeah,
so
no
when they go to
ovals do wet races.
What, no?
Well, anyway,
they have a light
this
sprinkle when they get away with it.
Yeah,
this thing had a picture of, it said Formula 1 wet races and it had a dryer going around the track, and then it said IndyCar wet races and it had a pickup truck towing some dryers, and then it had British touring car and a picture of a touring car going round in the wet. That's how touring cars deal with the wet. They go out and dry it.
When they released that safety car the other day, they said it on commentary. Do you know if they had a quicker safety car, they'd have started to clear the water and the spray wouldn't have been as bad. And that's the problem. The longer they delay it and the more it rains, the wetter it gets, the worse the spray gets. The sooner they start, whether it's starting under the safety car or what, the less the spray gets because they're shifting the water quicker than let's be honest, some cars will shift that water quicker than a touring car. Do you know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
because they're just fucking rapid.
Just kept going round under the safety car.
Yeah.
You should have done
that's what they've done in years past.
If there was no improvement, that's when you go, yeah, it's a bit.
A rule that something Martin Brundle was saying about was they should either get a GT3 car that's a bit quicker than what they've already got as the safety car, or make a rule that the leader of the race has to stick to like a delta, a certain pace that's a bit quicker than what they would be behind the safety car and a bit quicker
like
than the pit limiter.
Virtual safety car.
Yeah, like doing a virtual safety car, it's a bit quicker. And then they can do it. The lead car is pretty much the safety car in that effect, but because they're going a bit quicker, they're shifting that water quicker.
They can spread out.
Yeah.
Because of the spray, they'll spread out more while they're doing that delta, and they'll cover most of the circuit, so they'll keep it from. And then then you can close up and then fuck off.
Yeah.
And I did see that Bert Mylander got driver of the day.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know why. It was fucking that safety. It was the.
It was the bloke who drove the car when Grosjean ploughed into a wall that did it, wasn't it?
It was he should have been driving.
But Mylander were parked in pits.
He did more laps.
I saw a picture
he
after
nearly fucking lost it as well at one point.
I saw a picture after that said, imagine coming home from work. It just said, imagine coming home and turning this on and seeing Russell get second and Mazepin fastest lap. You'd wonder what race you've missed.
Wait, Mazepin got fastest lap?
Aye, but he wanted top 10, so he didn't get the point for it.
He went in top 10, but under the safety car.
That could have been Mazepin's first point.
Although, arguably, do you know if they'd have ran the race, that could have actually been the outcome of the race in the wet. Everybody could have crashed out. Russell could have got a podium and Mazepin fastest lap.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah. Hey.
Alright, I'll join the lobby and then I'll be back in a minute.
Right, that's me Dubai testing over and done with. And we learned nothing. Except default setup is best. Excellent. I'm in a Lotus 78.
Off to our car.
That's funny. The other night I was in a fucking Nissan.
How the fuck do you spell possible? Is it 1B? It is, isn't it?
I don't know. I can't even spell my own name.
No, possible.
P-O-S-I-B-L-E?
Double B, I think. No, it is 1B.
I-B-L-E.
What is it? P-O-S.
What do you think?
Fucking spell checker.
We'll try it.
Is that light cloud or medium cloud?
Medium cloud.
Okay. I wonder how much
double S. That's why it didn't look right. It's double S.
Yeah, it's double S. I just fucking said that.
I did just say what.
Why you no listen?
Why? Kill your fucking
Chinese.
Why? That was the point, you fucking idiot. Why you not listen?
Post.
I give you money, you do my laundry.
You want dolphin $2.99.
You gotta give money. You give me linen.
Oops.
I try cook duck dinner.
Ah, it's fried rice, you fucking plick.
Paste there. Enter that.
What's your fucking thing you say? Oh, put your hands up, this is a liquor motherfucker or something.
That's my dyslexic joke.
Yeah, funny.
Dyslexic robber.
Yeah.
Hair in your hat and smother liquors, fuck up.
No idea.
That's not your joke.
Yeah. Well, it's not mine. I've got a copyright on it, but I use it a lot.
I got a copyright on it.
I have.
Breaking news. Kelly Davis copyrights dyslexic joke.
Copyright. Every time someone says it, they have to go, copyright Kelly Davis. 1982.
Yeah, I was going to say, I've heard that joke on TikTok before.
Yeah, but do you think told that person on TikTok?
Yeah, if I can stand up straight, yeah.
Well, unless you know some American
Huh?
fucking people that play GTA 5 all the time.
I do, funnily enough, Liam.
On,
and I was just the other night telling them some jokes.
Bye, guys.
See you later,
Bye
Dan. Best
bye.
luck, mate.
Have a good race, Dan.
Right,
Cheers,
I'm going to
lads.
chuck us into a different party, Kelly. So, best luck, Peaceful. Best luck, Liam. Best luck, Maz. Best luck, whoever else is in there. Hope to chat to a few of you on the podium. Oh, Liam left. I thought Liam would have stayed with Maz. Obviously not. Oh, right on. Well, you got Keegs in party. You'll be alright. I'll catch you later. Best of luck. Cheers, baby. So, what you mean at, Anne? You keep fucking whispering and I can't hear you. Whatever.
Does that do everything for you?
Righty.
Howdy.
Howdy, howdy. You're gonna do like you did at the start of the race yesterday.
In practice.
Yeah, because you did a rundown of runners and riders kind of thing.
Yeah.
And you and Dan were basically having a conversation about each one, really.
Yeah, just during a practice session.
Yeah, I thought it worked really well when I was listening to it back, you know?
Yeah, I sometimes think it's the best way at times at the first race of the season. Just explain who's in what, who's teamed with who, what car changes there is, livery changes. May as well get it out of the way so that instead of, you know, for those who have a bit of a bad race we may not see a lot of, you know, they get a bit of time to be seen and stuff like that.
Absolutely. Right, how the fuck do I switch accounts on?
Okay.
Oh, fucking how do I switch accounts? How do I switch accounts?
Xmart.
Xmart's in my car.
BT, he is.
Yeah, BT's in Nicky's.
Yep.
Same livery and all that, so that is my car.
Actually, no, sorry. BT's in yours, the 119.
Is it? Oh, right. I thought Mark was. Right, okay. That's all right then. So, Mark for the win then. Sorry, BT for the win. Because he's got my car.
2, 4, 6, 8. Right. Pit window time.
How the fuck do I change? I don't know how to do it. Hello. Hang on.
Will open lap end of lap 3 and will close end of lap 18.
I'll try and get a video done for next week. For your,
no worries, mate.
Just yeah.
Mike posted in SimPlay Motorsport. I've literally just done that. No Leechy losers tonight, by the way.
Yeah, I got that. Leechy losers, yeah.
Speaking of the Leechy losers, Little Leech had 6 motocross bikes nicked at his garage.
Who did? Gary?
No, Little Leach.
Had what? 6 what?
6 motocross bikes.
Oh, fucking hell. Shit.
6. Here's one. Four minutes till we get going, so I've started 2 minutes late.
Oh dear.
So Phil making 50th appearance race 1, if he's here. Andy's next week. There is no lap records for Brands Hatch, so they don't need to be mentioned. And, oh, Kieran, that is a nice new little thing that we've got going there. I can't believe he's actually fucking done that, Kieran. He's a... you bastard. Right. Qualifying. Ah, right. Qualifying 2 averages now that Kieran has done will add up accurately as to the ones that you actually qualifying.
Ah?
He's basically edited the spreadsheet. So last season we had the Q2 average qualifying.
Yeah.
That was a bit all over the place because sometimes you'd qualify, sometimes you wouldn't, or most times you wouldn't, whatever. Whereas now he's sent me a message saying that the Q2 average qualifying now will only be done for those who do the average qualifying. If they're below a certain position, it'll highlight yellow and it won't add it into the average.
Okay.
So that should hopefully make that a bit easier, a bit more understandable for where you do qualify when it comes to Q2.
I had 2 quite good qualifyings late yesterday.
Yeah, 2nd and 3rd. Well, two-thirds
Yeah, 2/3
on
really,
pace, but yeah. Let's load last season's average qualifying, shall we, that we can use tonight. Just for overall average. Alright, mate. See you in the morning. Love you. Oh, watch man. Love you. Right, are we getting Phil in? So I'm going to go in 15 out of 18. No Sutty. He's at work. No Jamie. No Phil. So yeah, they are the last 3. Andy's just left the session. Well done, Andy.
Back to normal.
I don't even see Motive Racing anymore, you know.
No, I don't see it pop up on Facebook.
Oh, right, I'm just going to take my jumper off quickly. And I'm back. Brew Racing, let's go. Good luck, boys.
Iron Brew Racing, who's that behind that? I'm sure I'm supposed to know.
Jamie and Mazda.
Jamie and Mazda.
This season, anyway. I think Jamie does the whole Iron Brew Racing Facebook thing.
Right. What, Iron Brew, well, they're not Scottish, are they?
No, it was Mazda and Keegs that first made that team name, and then Jamie teamed with Keegs for season 2, but then wanted to kept this team name last season with Liam.
Okay, so it was Keegs
it was Keegs and Mazda that started it. Yeah, that's the Scottish connection. But yeah.
I'm with you.
And it's not spelt as Iron Brew is actually spelt. It's spelt properly, the word iron and the word brew.
Iron,
so
instead of an urn.
Yeah. Right, let us go. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to SimPlay Motorsport here once again on a Thursday night, ready for your pro coverage. And what a season we have in store for you. Currently 12 drivers on track. We are expecting 2 others to be with us tonight. We are going to sadly miss Sooty Apex and Jamie Brazier. Jamie currently unwell and Sooty at work. But we've got a cracking night of racing installed for you. I'm just going to quickly go over a few rules in a moment. Before, though, I say a great evening to my co-commentator. Kelly's back, sweet and sticky, here in your box once again on a Thursday night.
Hello, mate. How are you?
Very well, yourself?
I'm excited. That's what I am. It's Thursday. It's a new season. We're back, baby.
We are indeed. It's been a long month. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I'm just still trying to work out how to change the camera angles. That's all right. I know.
We are back.
Yeah, it's good to be back. Good to be back for sure.
It is indeed. We're back live on your Thursday night, and we've got some cracking drivers and cars out there, and that man in particular is one that people may be excited to see, although not if he's doing that. Just quickly, though, a few rules to make you aware of. There is a few changes. 15-minute practice session for the pro lads instead of the 20-minute that the Pro-Am boys are allowed, as well as the biggest rule of all, the pit window opening and closing, Kelly. The pit window will open now 10% into the race, which I think the admins are looking to change to 20%, but that will be obviously as from next week or whenever that is decided. And it closes 80% in. So tonight, for example, the pit window will open at lap 3 and will shut lap 8 at the end of lap 18.
Right. Okay,
interesting one for these.
Yeah,
just an interesting one for these drivers. Not able to pit at the very end of this race. The pro guys have got to get it done within a certain window now, and this could bring for a strategy could be a bit more key now, especially with not being able to pit with your teammate.
Absolutely. So something extra for the guys to think about. We'll see how they work with that, and I'm sure they get the hang of it. I'm sure they will.
Yeah, I'm sure they will. Phil's just got in with us, so we have got the full grid for tonight. Obviously, no Jamie and no Sooty then. I'm just going to give you a quick run-through of who is here and who's in what, just as we say evening to JR Sim Racing, Audio Sport, which is our brand new sponsor as well. So thank you to them for sponsoring us.
What a great company to have on board that one.
Brilliant company. DJ Sticky. PN Motorsport Gaming, nice to see you here as well. Obviously racing the Clio Cup. Smithy, Adam Cow, Peaceful Stepdad, Team Prolapse. That'll probably be Nicky behind that one, and Fury's granddad is here as well. Evening sweet and sticky. Good luck everyone. Go Fury and that Bozzy boy. Now, bit of a clue there as to who's teaming with who in that team, but we'll start with the one we've got on screen. BT Targa, as you can see.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
running your livery, Kelly.
No, that's my car, Matt.
Your car?
That's my car. 119. That's mine.
Team Prolapse this year, obviously, they're allowed the same team name in Pro and Pro-Am, but one of each team. Not like the other year where there was about 4 different Time Brew Racings. One in Pro, one in Pro-Am. So the Team Prolapse have kept the Porsche of last year of Nicky in KLF, the 119 being KLF's and the 120 being Nicky's. They've kept them. And sold the Mercedes-Benz to obviously purchase them Renaults last night, because BT Targa and X-Mart make the jump into the Porsche, and what a transition that's going to be for them too.
Yes, indeed. As I said, they've taken it out of the Prolapse garage. I'd given it a wax and put it away, and BT wanted to use it, so okay, well, look after it. So my car, let's see what he can do with it. Probably a lot better than I can, to be fair. But good to see the Prolapse name in the pros.
Indeed it is then. We go next, there's X-Mart Lock in the Nicky livery then. As we go next towards, you pick as a driver, Kelly, and we'll discuss them.
Well, while we're talking people coming up from Pro-Am, which both Xmart and BT have. Let's talk about the reigning Pro-Am champion,
the reigning
Mr.
Pro-Am
Fury himself.
Indeed, the reigning Pro-Am champion, Constructors champion as well, with Forever Forward Racing, staying in his Mercedes-Benz, having a fresh coat of paint there on his Mercedes-Benz AMG, and teaming up at Wakasaki Racing with that Bozzy boy. Got a first podium in the Pro last year, did Liam, so he can hopefully make that jump from the Audi into the Mercedes-Benz. And can that Bozzy boy and Fury, can that one work? What will happen with them two? That's an interesting pair up that I'm excited to see, and a car choice for Liam that, if he can get it right, could be better than the Audi.
Yes, I think Liam's going to need to have a little bit of time in that car to get grips on it, but I believe he was insistent that he wanted to go with this car. The nice thing about having Fury in this championship is we get the Fury Massive regularly turning up to Pro, who always give us plenty of comments in the chat. Fury's granddad Tony and Fury's mum usually turn up in the chat, so it's nice to be commentating on Fury again instead of watching the back of his car.
Yeah, for a lap, and then he's gone into the distance.
And then it's gone into the distance, you're quite right.
Completely agree. Let's go to the Mercedes-Benz behind him then. The red one of Peaceful Explosion behind him then, and GQ Motorsport keeping the same car and the same team and the same driver lineup in their garage, and Peaceful Explosion and Monkey Boy teaming up together, but a fresh coat of paint on that one. The 194 of Peaceful in the red with white trim, and the red and black in the 193 machine of Monkey Boy then. Same driver lineup, and it was a decent driver lineup last year. They're hopefully going to try and keep some consistency going and keep that form of both these guys into the future.
And we start as we mean to go on, as we do normally. Traditions, I think that was spoken about last night in the chat. Traditions, as soon as we go on to Peaceful, he's having a moment. So hopefully, not too much of that, Mike. Let's have some better consistency. We're hoping for from Peaceful this year.
Indeed. Let's then jump to the... what other car haven't we seen yet? I think let's go to Phil. Phil's currently sat in the garage, but we can get a good shot of it from the garage. There he is then, and as you can see, it's black and orange, but it's not an Acura for Phil this season. It's a Lamborghini. It's a Lamborghini, unfortunately.
It's a Lamborghini.
The Acura's been dropped. It's broken my heart, but Phil and Sutty run flat racing 4 seasons in a row. These boys have been together. The longest running team and same driver lineup. But I say team in terms of team name being the same, and unlike Gary and Craig at the minute, but they've gone back to their traditional Lamborghini of season 1 and 2, running the traditional colours. Sutty not with us tonight. His is a black, same livery but black and green instead of orange. Phil running the black and orange Lamborghini. What can he do tonight? Run flat racing here for a 4th season with the same driver lineup.
I'm excited about this one. We're going to call them Coulthard and Hakkinen. They've been together so long, but I'm excited about this. I don't think I've ever seen somebody going sideways there. I don't think I've ever seen the true pace of Sutty and Phil. I think they're much better drivers. All jokes aside about the Acura, I think they're much better drivers than the Acura was giving them credit for. I know I've raced Sutty a couple of times and he's absolutely destroyed me. So I'm expecting to see good things from these guys.
Why don't we head to the Disco Motors, Disco McDisco face then. A regular last year in his yellow BMW, and he keeps the yellow BMW, but he's left SimPlay Racing, who's no longer a team anymore, and he's joined Slingshot Motorsport and has got the acquisition of a guy who took the most pole positions in Pro last year in Andy. Very interesting driver lineup this one for me, because Disco and Andy both very, very quick drivers and very capable drivers of winning races and getting podiums and getting pole positions, especially if you're Andy, who took the most poles last season, as I've said. This one excites me, this driver lineup. It really excites me.
Yes, we know quite well. I mean, you and me know Andy personally from dealings with Motive and commentating and stuff like that. He's a good commentator. He's a cracking driver, and he got some good moments in the Ginetta, but it was a poor car choice. He couldn't wait to get rid of it. Although he did have one. Did he have a win in it? I know he had lots of poles.
I think he had a couple of wins. I think he got a win at Dubai back end of the year, and he won the very first race, if you remember, at Spa, beating off Unorthodox and D Biggs.
That's right. I agree with you. It's a good lineup, those two. It's a good team. So we look forward to them doing something good with that.
We do as well. Let's go then to Mazda, who's back on the grid. No Jamie tonight, but let's go to his teammate Mazda then in the Iron Brew Racing Audi. Liam's freed up a space in the garage, so Iron Brew Racing have gone, do you know what? We used to have Mazda, so let's bring him back into this team, and let's bring in the Audi. Mazda, a very quick driver. His flaw is he wants to drive everything. He just needs to stick in this car and stay with it for the season, because this guy's a contender.
Absolutely, yes. Another quick driver. There's so many quick drivers in Pro this year. It's such an open category. But yes, Mazda is a quick driver. There's, I believe there is no car swapping whatsoever allowed as part of the restructure and rule changes. Where you could before, with chatting to the admins, you could change cars and lose your points. I believe that's gone, that you are stuck. Complete with the car you've got right through the season. Am I right in saying that?
Yeah, that's it. That's locked in now. Whatever you're in now cannot be changed until the end of the season. The only talks that are ongoing are the Iron Blue Racing team in Pro-Am want to change their livery. It's something blue and orange. Liveries are a bit different to changing the car. But no car changes for this year. But this man really excites me, Kelly, with the partnership of Jamie. Another team that with Andy and Disco and Fury and Liam, in fact, every team on this grid, It's guys. These are guys that are race winners. Jamie has the most race wins here at SimPlay. We know what Mazda can do in a car. This is going to be interesting.
Absolutely. Let's move on, because I'm looking at the pits and I think we should move on.
Let's go to the runners-up then of last year. The team runners-up, the two-time Constructors winners and two-time champion in the car was the Leach Motorsport, was the Leachy Legends. It's now the Leachy Losers. Interesting change, interesting choice of name. And as you can see from Little Leach's car, they've got rid of the Porsche. It's been scrapped, and they've purchased the same car that you and Nicky's got, and they've gone for the Renault in this one. Little Leach running the grey and bought off the market in the middle of a town centre, probably somewhere. But Little Leach running the grey and blue, Gary in the grey and red. But these two now, they've stuck with the Porsche, haven't they? While it was a title winner, the minute they've not won a title, they've gone, do you know what? Let's have a change of car, see what we can do in something different. It's a bold move, though, the Renault.
It is, and I mean, there's as you said, me and Nicky at Team Pro Laps and Pro-Am have changed to the Renault, and we're enjoying it. But is it quick enough to be a pro car? I'm going to be very interested to see what Gary and Little Leach do with this car and how they get on with it, because for obvious reasons, But yes, it could be a bold choice for a pro car, because it's not rated very highly as a pro car, but the right guys are driving it. So Gary being a two times champion, he's the right man to be having a go at it. And as I say, I'm really interested to see how they get on with it. Another great partnership, a winning partnership. Another exciting lineup.
Indeed. And then that just leaves us with one team then. And as you can see, it is when we get there. As you can see, look, no change. D-Biggs and Unorthodox in the same cars. The only difference is Dan now has the 911 number, the 911. The number 1 is on his car instead of the 912, based on the fact that he is the defending champion. And these two, Kelly, are brilliant. Constructors champions, drivers champions. They've not changed a single thing bar swap the cars around, the liveries around, or numbers, should I say. Again, it's a strong pairing.
It is a strong pairing, and they are the team to beat. They work so incredibly well. D-Biggs is Mr. Consistent in the Pro. He's always there. He's always scoring points. He always gets the best out of the car. He's only really had a couple of off rounds here and there. And and Dan is just on form at the moment, isn't he? He's been taking. No, it goes back in the pits again. Make up your mind, Dan. I think he hit the pit wall on his way out there.
I think I did catch him.
Yeah. So he probably decided to put a new wing on that really quickly. Dan's in the form of his life, isn't he? Do you know what I mean? Championship after championship. He is now the man to beat, and he's got an awful lot of really good drivers looking to take wins off him.
And the thing is, as well, with X-Mart, BT Targa and Fury coming up, and the acquisition of Mazda coming back, that's made the Pro even harder, if you can arguably say. No disrespect to the guys that did get to Motor due to the restructure, but that's made the Pro grid even harder. And the likes of Phil and Sutty going back into that Lamborghini instead of the Acura, it is all race wins that can be taken away from Dan, and it's points that can be taken away from Dan that he maybe didn't lose last year. So this season is going to be very interesting to watch. You look at the minute, and Barmaster and Phil, who's pretty much not done a respectable lap time, there's only 2.8 that separate that Bozzy Boy and Dan from first to 12th place at the minute, and I'm sure Liam's got a bit more in the tank than that one, but you look at the rest of them, 1.6 separate the top 11. That is something you'd see in the British Touring Car Championship, if not a bit closer, that the top, how many are separated by that much. Even it's Fury's mum and Jamie Brazier, anyone other than Dan for the win, please let it be Mazda, he says in the chat. That shame that Jamie couldn't get out on the track tonight, Kelly, because he's got some pace. And this is the track that Jamie actually picked. Jamie, but obviously being a commentator, a steward on a Monday and a Friday, got the decision to pick a track this season, and this was the one he chose, and it got picked first of all. And Brands.
Well, I need to have a very strong word with Jamie, because I don't like this track at all. And if anybody was watching last night, they'll see why. It's one of his favourites, we know, and it's an absolute shame not to have him there because we didn't get a chance to talk about him. But you're quite right about what you're saying with the with the gap. There is so many people who could win races here, and there can only be one winner per race. So we're going to have some titanic battles. I really do think we are. Dan has got to pick his game up, because the people in waiting are very, very quick and on good form. You know, who would you put your money on if you were going to bet for a title winner, for a team? Do you know what I mean? With such great pairings.
And this is the thing. Maybe last season you could have picked one or two teams. I look at 5 teams this season out of the 8 and think any of them teams could do it. If I had to pick a driver, you're always going to look at Dan, you're always going to look at Gary. They're a champion in this division for a reason. But then you look at Andy moving to the BMW, you look at BT Targa coming into this. I'd have said Sutty in that Lamborghini, but with him not making every race due to work commitments, that one won't happen. I look at Mazda, I look at Jamie Brazier.
I think
there's a list. There's any one of these guys, I'd say there's about 8 drivers realistically I think can win this title.
Absolutely, and I mean, I would say if I had to put money on someone, and unfortunately he's not here for the first race, I think Jamie is probably one of the biggest contenders on his form of last season. I mean, with his internet problems, he would have been right up there. Do you know what I mean? And I mean, to finish first you've got to finish and all that, but I think Jamie would have, is a true contender for this. But as I said, Dan's on the form of his life. Gary is double champion. Andy is in a better car this year. BT's the silent assassin here. He quietly goes about his business and does it very, very quickly. And he's got the lucky car.
We'll see how the lucky car goes. It did you all right last season. Fury's granddad, Matt, read Fury's mum's comment again. It's not her, it's her cousin Lilia. Well, evening Lilia, even better. We've got another Fury massive in the chat. Welcome. We appreciate everybody here. 24 people watching, 14 likes. Guys, let's smash the thumbs up button as we head into qualifying now. And we've just tipped a driver or a team. Well, we couldn't really tip a driver or a team for the title. Who are we going to tip for pole, Kelly?
I'm going to take the safe bet and say Dan. I know what he's capable of round here, and I'm going to say Dan. I mean, viewers out there, get ready for some biased comments from me, but I think they're justified. I think Dan is probably the quickest man round here tonight. But it's not all about the qualifying.
It isn't. I'm going to go with Andy, just purely off the fact he was the best qualifier last season. He qualified everybody. 7 pole positions to Jamie Brazier's 6. The next best person was Gary on 4. Dan only took 3 pole positions last season, so my money's going to be Andy for pole. And let's not forget the other rule change that was mentioned last night. A point for pole position in both Q1 and Q2. So everything up for grabs already as BT Targa goes back to the pitch. You do not want to be there too long in this session. Now, the other interesting thing, Kelly, as well is the game was registered the 1st and 2nd of September as autumn. Just dropping the track temperatures a little bit, meaning that the hard tyre may not switch on as quick as it did at the end of last season had we been at Brands Hatch. So what do you go with in qualifying? Do you stick the soft tyre on knowing that it's going to get warmer quicker, you'll be able to get some more better laps in on a warmer tyre, or do you risk that hard tyre and spend a bit of time in qualifying getting it up to temperature?
Well, this is a good question. I run the softs all last night, and I mean I've qualified third twice. I run the softs all night. They were fine. I know there was other guys in Pro-Am last night who run softs all the way. So is our British climate and it being autumn enough to soft to be the best tyre? I don't know. I know some guys also say that the hards don't work for them on their particular car. I won't name any names and give any secrets away. But yeah, it's going to be, I think it's borderline on personal choice, this one,
Well, I was just about to say that I've only seen two people in the 1:22 22s in practice, and that was me and Dan, and I don't race. That's one heck of a lap from Andy.
Yes, that was, and he's, that was a cracker, that was.
That is going to be a lap to beat, I reckon. He has just... well, what can you say about it then? That was an absolute fantastic lap from Andy, and he's going to take some beating. Dan already 1.5 off the pace, and actually didn't get that.
I wouldn't read too much into Dan's first pace, to be fair. I think you'll find he's out there getting his tyres in the window. Yeah. The Porsche takes a couple of laps, and Dan's learning more and more about the Porsche all the time.
That's exactly what I was just about to say there, Kelly, is that let's not forget, even though the Porsche may take the softs a couple of laps to get up to temp, he could also be running that hard tyre that we've just spoke about, and that'll take that little bit longer to get up to its better temperature. He's already half a second up nearly on this sector alone. It's not a purple sector from him though at the moment. Only green's being set by everybody out there so far. That from Andy is going to take some beating. And while we talk about Andy, he got an average qualifying last season of P3 in qualifying 1, so really is a fantastic qualifier in that first qualifying. Dan only averages P4.
Dan messed it up on a couple of corners behind. I was just about to comment on his line through one of those corners. I think he kind of messed that up a little bit, but he's as I say, he's trying to get those tyres into a window, I believe, and he'll probably do a couple of laps and just get progressively quicker. Remember, it's only a 10-minute qualifying. You've got to get on with it, Matt, haven't you?
You have got to get on with it. There's no time to be sitting around, and for Peaceful Explosion, he's just come out of the pit, so he's only got half a session left as we go on to Dan. He was 4 tenths up by the end of that lap then, and that has put him P4, but what could have been maybe in that lap as he struggled in the middle sector. Just looking at everybody here, those that have done a decent qualifying lap. Liam was only in the 26s in practice. He's already nearly in the 23s in qualifying, so upping his game from practice to quali there. Maybe just lowering the fuel a little bit and just, doing a bit of a qualifying bit to your setup. But Liam, so far, we're putting Liam in that bracket. That would have put everybody in practice 1.5 seconds off the quickest time in practice.
Yes, indeed. I wanted somebody to go on board with, just to have a lap on board. Who's coming up to... Where's X-Mart? No, he's in the pits, so he's no good to me. Disco is... No, he's there. Where's my car?
No, he's halfway around.
Fury. Okay, Pro-Am champion. I've just come across the line. The first corner, Paddock Hill Bend. We'll get on board in just... hang on. I'm rusty for having a month off. That's the problem.
Mazda's just coming round.
Mazda's just coming round. Okay, let's try and get on board with Maz as he comes... there we go, down Paddock Hill Bend. First corner's unsighted, really, really tricky, difficult. You're up to the hairpin already, probably the best overtaking opportunity on the track. Doesn't bother the apex too much, that one. Easy to get on a power downhill to Graham Hill, I think this is. Tuck into the corner, you can let it run wide, but not off the red and white curb, because that is out of track limits. This awful corner. Late apex as you go onto the GP loop. Try and tuck it in for the apex and try not to run wide. So this is the fastest part of the track now. You're going flat out along this, we kind of call it a straight, as you start rising up the hill. Probably the trickiest section coming up right now, as this is on camber, off camber. As you can see, unsighted as you go round and try to keep it in limits. This one, take a bit of curb on the inside, but try not to run out wide. Don't go over those curbs. It gets all very wobbly up there. And as you come to the top of the hill here, lots of curb, lots and lots, more than that, Mazda, as you bounce over those curbs. I like this corner, on camber, tuck it in. You can really slingshot your way around that one as we're coming around almost the end of the lap again. Last corner is a bit of a hurry up and wait corner. You can go in quite quick, you have to hesitate a little bit, let the car get settled, then nail the throttle again. The back end of the start straight still on a curve, as there's no real straights on Brands Hatch. And that is a lap. And what did that put Maz? Third. That's
P3.
not bad at all, is it?
Not bad at all. Dan's gone second as well during all that, knocking Peaceful down to P4. Fury and Gary in the pits. Liam, I think, has just exited the pits not long ago. But good lap that from Mazda, and pretty much did everything right. And he didn't do that. He's him back in the pits. As is Disco and Gary and Andy, then they all get out soon. They'll get one flying lap in. When
Dan's
they
still
get
going
out,
at it.
Yeah, he is still going at it. And what's his time going to be? 11 seconds down, so that would indicate he's backed off for a lap maybe and just got them tyres a bit cooler. And will he push a bit harder now? Peaceful then, avoiding a flying sign of what looked to be Fury, I think it is, with the orange wing mirrors there. It was indeed. Yeah. So what can Peaceful do? Monkey Boy's currently 7th. Fury, good outing at the minute in P6. D-Big's down in 5th. Yeah. Now X-Mart is P13. BT Targa down in 9th. That Bozzy Boy 10th, currently out qualifying Gary and Little Leach. And Phil's still a bit off the pace at the minute, and he messaged me just before we started the qualifying session saying, don't know how well I'm going to do. Got the PS5, lost all my wheel settings, forgot to get them off the PlayStation 4, so running kind of on the default wheel settings, so he may be a bit off the pace a little bit in this first one as he tries to get that one sorted. Monkey Boy in the background losing the car, and Disco then, Peaceful then, coming through Dingledell now and back up the hill to Sheen Curve. And
I love the way you know all the names of these corners.
British tracks I'm fine with. Some foreign tracks, yeah, but British tracks I've got it. Through Stirlings we go then, and down this back straight towards Clearways comes Peaceful Explosion. Is he on a better lap? No, not according to my timing screen on my phone. Lol sideways. Disco for the champ, for the trophy, says JR Sim Racing. Hope the commentary lads are spot on. He's saying spot on. I had a bit of a cough there.
We always are. We always are, my friend. That's one thing you can rely on, that will be spot on every time.
BT Target in the pits then, 30 seconds left. He's not going to get another run at this one then. Everybody then will be on their final runs, or coming to start their final runs. 27 people watching, 15 likes. Guys, girls, hit that thumbs up button as X-Mart improves by 200ths there then, and Gary crosses the line just behind him, and no improvement from Gary. Just looking at the timing screen, nobody really improving here. A few quicker middle sectors, but nothing better in the first.
We'll tell you what's quite interesting is the pro pace all the way down to Little Leach. I don't think Phil's given it a proper crack just in this session, but all the way down to 13th, which is Little Leach, were all quicker than the Pro-Ams last night. I think only NJ was the only man in the 24s at any point.
24-1 I think. No, Argent got 24-1 as well in qualifying 1.
Okay, so that would have made him like 11th or 10th or 11th.
Yeah.
That's the difference. As Little Leach goes a bit wide and goes back to pits. That's the difference between Pro and Pro-Am.
It is indeed. The fine margins of a couple of tenths here or there between getting promoted and relegated in this SimPlay season, as X-Mart's up by 400ths of a second, and that isn't going to be good enough to get him ahead of Gary. Can he improve, though, anywhere else? As Dan then will be the first car to finish, and behind him it will be Peaceful Explosion. Dan bails out, so Peaceful behind him. Then what's he going to do? He's pitted as well. Fury, he's done. Someone's just crossed the line. We didn't see who. X-Mart, I think, will be coming up to the line soon. Andy's gone purple. Middle sector. X-Mart then doesn't improve. Gary behind him. Oh, X-Mart does improve, sorry. Goes quicker than Gary. Gary down in 12th then. Andy was purple middle sector. So what's this lap going to be at the minute? This looks like a real flyer.
Ooh. Just on the edge of the track there. What's he going to do? Oh, we don't see it.
He did a 22.7, so it wasn't quicker than his pole time. But nonetheless, that is a heck of a start. Yeah.
Well, you were right. You were right, Matt. He was Andy took pole, but my prediction was right behind him in second place. Dan, we know Dan has been in the 22s, but he just couldn't make it happen in this session for whatever reason. A good lap from Mazda. That was the one we were on board to take third place. So that's a good showing from Mazda. And it's all over the place, isn't it? So say any one of these guys is quick enough. So, but somebody's got to be first and somebody's got to be last. So yeah.
Andy then on pole by half a second, nearly 6/10. That is quite a big margin, to be fair, for him. Then Mazda in third and Peaceful in fourth. All of them separated by just a second. D-Biggs just over a second behind Andy as well. Peaceful, good qualifying for him up in P4. Didn't really mention it in the session itself, but he'll be happy with that one, I'm sure. Fury in sixth, not bad from him neither, with Monkey Boy 7th, Disco in 8th, BT 9th. I'm sure he would have hoped for a bit more, but that Bozzy Boy, top 10 on his first outing in the Mercedes, and I'm sure he'll take that one ahead of X-Mart, Gary, Little Leach, and and then Phil coming in last, qualifying in last at the moment. But it's not about the qualifying. There is a point on offer for it, but it's about the race where you get the more opportunities of scoring them points.
Absolutely. And
Andy taking the first point.
Yeah, go on, mate, sorry.
Andy taking the first point of the season in the Pro for his pole position at the minute, and points mean prizes at the end of the day. These fine qualifying margins come the end of this tight and tricky season that we're going to see from all these drivers, these top drivers. That is not bad for Andy, getting them extra qualifying points. Let's think, 7 extra points last year. What could that have done for him? What will it do for him this year if he can get 7 or more poles?
Yes, indeed. Well, yeah, 7 points.
Not my
favourite. Could make all the difference, couldn't it?
It could indeed. How many drivers are going to bin it in pit entry? It's tricky, says JR Sim Racing. It is very tricky. Disco, not my favourite track at all. Better race, I hope. Andy was flying there, says Team Pro Laps. Leachy Bros in Pro-Am next year, says Smithy. And see if Andy can make the tyres last. BMW Power, says JR Sim Racing. That's going to be the talking point, isn't it? What tyres is people on? And we don't get to see this one. Oh, we've lost a driver. Who have we lost? We're down to 13 runners.
Liam. No, not Liam. Yes.
No. Yep. Liam will not line up for this first race of the season. So what has happened there?
I don't know. Maybe he's struggling with these.
Liam lagged out, he said, apparently.
Well, there we go.
Strange.
Yes, indeed. What a shame.
Yeah, shame, because he was P10 as well and looking good in the qualifying session. But, well, what that will mean is he'll get to qualify for race 2. 13 drivers will start this race, and meaning that the top 6 who finish cannot qualify for race 2. 28 people watching, 16 likes. Guys, girls, hit that thumbs up button. Let's get this video to 20 likes before this race starts. They're taking a while getting these setups sorted and getting readied up on that grid. As there we go, look, we are ready to go now. So then, the lights will come on in just a moment. Syncing up, the lights are already on some of the cars, but we've got 1, 2, 3 red lights. It's green and go here at SimPlay Motorsport Season 4 for the Pro Series. And what a start from Unorthodox. But has he got the jump on Andy? Disco's already off in the background. Andy wide though. Disco trying to recover himself. And these two are still side by side up towards Druid's corner. Great clean first corner from these two. And will Andy hang it around the outside towards Graham Hill Bend? No, he can't. Bit of a twitch mid-corner at Druids. And Dan gets the job done. Mazda's been jumped by D-Biggs and Fury there then. And Peaceful, he's dropped down to 11th. So not the start he would have wanted. But the Leach brothers and BT Targa have made an excellent start.
Yes, indeed. The Porsche doing that rocket start that it normally does. Daniel capitalising that, and D-Biggs, because D-Biggs up into 3rd. And so the Porsche start working a treat. Nice clean start between Andy and Dan. No argy-bargy or silliness. Nice and clean. So Andy's got it to do now. He's got to chase down the champion. D-Biggs is in huge pressure from Furious.
Oh, that's Master who's just dropped it in the background. Sorry. Through Hawthorne's corner. Master dropped it coming on the exit to the corner. And it's so easy on this GP section to just run wide, drop a wheel on the dirt or over the curb and lose the rear end. And Master's done just that. Fury putting some real pressure on D-Biggs at the minute on his outing back in this Pro category. Let's not forget he is the defending Pro-Am champion, but what can he do now? A point to prove now. He's back in the top flight. Dan already gapping D-Biggs, and I tell you what, Gary from 12th on the grid up to 5th at the end of lap 1.
Yes, indeed. He's gapped a little bit back to Fury, but he's in the right zone, and there's plenty of laps to get on with it. So we'll see how Gary goes. He said in the chat this week, here and there, that he's just really going to get used to the car this season. I don't believe that. I reckon he'll be taking wins this season for sure.
Disco Face said he's already into the pits before the pit window's even open, so he must have had some serious time. Look at that BMW is ruined. He's got to pit again then after lap 3, between lap 3 and 18. He has got to make one pit stop in that window. So what a shame for Disco then, as Fury still hassling the back of D-Biggs here. And Gary just starting to close in a little bit, it looked like there. Is Peaceful then, after his poor start, looking to get on the back of BT Targa and maybe make some inroads. Gary looks like he's catching just until he got onto that straight. I wonder if the Merc and the BMW and the Porsche Power just pulling away enough from Gary early doors.
Yeah, maybe. Gary probably with a slight disadvantage on power from these two, but Fury is looking racy, isn't he? He's back in the Pro, and he's going to let everybody know about it, isn't he? He's looking very racy behind D-Biggs. The season away and all that success in Pro-Am has done him the world of good, or seems to, but we've got a long way to go and a long season, but certainly Fury looking very furious.
He is looking furious at the minute, looking furious as he tries to get past D-Biggs there, like we did there, Kelly. Brilliant. As they're gaining on Andy as well. Andy not being able to stick with Dan as Disco with Disco Face doesn't get lapped and just comes out the pits. Now, he has the right of way to stay in front of Dan. He doesn't have to move out the leader's way, as he does go wide though at Druids and lets Dan through. So nicely done from Disco with Disco Face there. As no! I think he was trying to stay out the way as D-Biggs ran a little wide on the exit to Druids and just tapped the rear of Disco there. It wasn't a hard hit, but it was enough that I think Fury had actually got up the inside of D-Biggs there, enough to put D-Biggs off. And they've both lost it. And Gary comes through and capitalises, and Disco there nearly chopping the nose of D-Biggs off there as a flash from D-Biggs. Disco then back in front of them too, as Andy and Dan now are well in front. Andy's just caught Dan a little bit here.
Back a bit,
has Dan made a mistake somewhere?
Yeah, possible. He's run a bit wide or whatever. Yeah, that was that was so unfortunate, wasn't it? I wonder if D-Biggs has got damage that caused him to spin, or was he just a little bit shaken by it all? But Fury had that spin as well, didn't he? And he didn't. So look at Gary. Yeah, he's on the podium. Look.
Yeah, I'm just going to try and not get relegated. He said in the chat earlier, and he's P3. Yeah, how's that for not getting relegated? You know what I mean? But
absolutely.
At the minute, Gary doing the business so far. P3 and still going. The pit window is now opened for the drivers. So Disco will have it open this lap, and I thought Peaceful was going to make early use of it there, but he just took a bit of a tighter line coming through the Clark curve and clearways than what BT targeted. Peaceful though at the minute looking like he's gaining on the back of BT Target here, and was a couple of tenths quicker on the last lap, using a lot of curb over Paddock Hill Bend there. And I like the Mercedes, Kelly. I've been testing it a lot in the off season, and it is quick around this circuit. I don't know about the Porsche. Well, I've seen it in the hands of Dan, and Dan obviously is a quick driver in himself, but I do think that Peaceful and Fury here have a good opportunity around this track.
Yes, indeed. I think you're probably right. It's all starting to go off a little bit just behind them. You've got BT, and he's catched up to D-Biggs, and D-Biggs, of course, has got Disco. I wonder what the Merc was, the Beamer was doing there, but that's of course, that's Disco. I think being as polite as he needs to be, you know, he's well within his rights to stay in the way. I say stay in the way. He doesn't have to get out the way. Staying in the way is a different subject, and we talked about that one earlier from some of the Pro-Am boys. But he's not being in the way. He's moving out of the way when he needs to, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I'm sure you know where I'm going with that.
I know where you're going with that. As Little Each and the first man into the pits inside the pit window, and he's coming out now. Andy must have had a problem somewhere, because he's now 6 seconds off the back of Dan. In fact, Gary's got past Andy. So Fury's passed him as well. So Andy's had a mega moment somewhere. D-Biggs dives into the pits at the end of lap 4 to get his pit stop done and out the way. So that is D-Biggs done. But what has happened to Andy then? What a shame as well, because he had a good start to this race and was looking racy with Dan. X-Mart follows D-Biggs into the pits. But Andy now down in P4, and will not be happy with that one.
For all the chat we talked about all the lineups, it's business as normal.
Oh, who's that off? That's Little Each. Sorry, Kelly.
Little Each. It's business as normal. It's Dan in first and Gary in second. The championship battle we had, where they were trading first and second all season long, is happening again straight away.
Yeah, well, welcome back to SimPlay Motorsport. If you've missed anything, no, Gary's just in a different car, but still P2. Yeah, he has got though the Pro-Am champion, current champion, on his rear. And Fury in this one, bar that one mistake he's made, he's looking very, very racy. Settle down, Argent. Argent saying that a bit behind, but my Q1 time would have put me 7th with a 24 dead. And Smithy saying, settle down, Argent. You only won one race, not the championship, in the chat. As Monkey Boy comes in to make his stop as well. So that's 5 drivers who have done their mandatory pit stops. As Fury here, looking around the outside of Gary and gets the job done before Clark Curve. Now, I thought Gary was going to let him pass, because Gary was tucking into the pits, but he doesn't there. That Renault just struggling on the straights compared to the Merc a little bit, I think.
Yes, it hasn't got the same power as that Merc. It hasn't. But Fury driving really well. I'll tell you what, I've been involved in this. This is now my 3rd season. This is season 4, isn't it?
Yes.
Are we season? Yes. This is my. I've done 1.5 full seasons commentating. Been into this sim racing now for just about a year, I suppose. And as Fury improved in that time. Do you know what I mean? From the Fury that I first commentated on to where he is now is a completely different driver. He's so much more complete as a driver than he used to be.
Yeah, and, consistent as well.
Yeah, his consistency, which is annoying because I might have had some more chances of beating him if he wasn't quite so consistent last season in taking the Pro-Am Championship. But he's come back to Pro, a new man.
Yeah, no, he has. He looks re-energised and ready to go. And in that Wakasaki racing car with that Bozzy Boy, young driver lineup that could excite a lot of people this year. And I tell you what, you see Gary catching Fury through the corners, but the minute that Mercedes seems to hit a straight line, he has gone champ in the pits at the minute. Then at the end of lap 6, Andy pitted on the last lap. Which is why he's dropped down the order a little bit, as he has dropped into the pits himself at the end of lap 5. Dan in and out, and I tell you what, that's as quick as we saw last. The Shake and Bake boys, they haven't lost anything, have they, in that time they've been off?
No, I had a cracker last night. Did a 1.4 seconds last night, which I was really happy with. So it's Dan there with a very quick one. Gary keeping Fury honest. If Fury's not getting away, but yeah, Gary keeping him honest, but not hassling him, is he?
Oh, well, he's not going to now. He's had a twitch and he's lost the car coming through Graham Hill. Oh, that was nicely done, Gary. Yeah, nice little... We've been taking ballet lessons in the off-season, Gary. A lovely little pirouette round and back facing the right way, and off you go. But what I was about to say is Dan come out in a bit of traffic with Peaceful, and he's not like he's a million miles behind Peaceful. He's quite close to him, so that'll be a battle Dan's got to have, and he won't want to lose too much time behind these other cars, as he'll not want Fury to make that time back before the pit window shuts. It will shut at the end of lap 18, so keep your eyes on that one. Still plenty of cars left to pit as well, but at the minute Gary just losing out then to Fury now, and well, will he think of making his pit stop to get that one done and out the way now? He's lost a bit of time and come out and go again.
Of course, that little pirouette that Gary done has brought the silent assassin BT Targa right into contention, isn't it? Where this is what I said about BT. All of a sudden, I mean, there's guys who've pitted in front of him, but here he is. Here's BT. He just kind of emerges on the scene.
He does indeed, as the race leader comes in again for Fury. So Dan should retake that race lead, as I can't see Fury moving. It's not the best of stops. He's away now, so Fury in and out the pits at the end of lap 7. He comes on to Gary then, leads this way. And if you've just tuned in, you'd think you've not missed anything with Dan leading, now Gary leading. It's as if we've not been away for 3 months. It still seems like it's a battle behind Dan and Gary, but for 3 months, for a month should I say. But no, at the minute, BT hassling the back of that Renault after the Renault made a mistake. Maze Gamer in the chat, let's go Dan, Fury, Xmart and BT Targa, Prolapse, Unicorns and a lovely little rainbow. Make sure you hit that thumbs up button, Maze, because it'd be lovely to get as many likes. And yes, Fury from Lilia. I hope I'm saying that right, Lilia. The anti obviously in the chat night, Fury massive. The anti on the mum's account, cheering Fury on, and he's having a good little race so far. Phil's still to pit, so he has technically came out net second place, you'd have to say.
Yes, indeed. And
as we lose Liam from that session.
Left the session, Daniel not pulling Peaceful in. Peaceful's going well in third place at the moment. Again, other people have stopped behind him. We can see how it all shakes out when we get to the stops. But Peaceful going on all right, and don't want to jinx him. Don't spin now, Mike, for God's sake. He does go a bit deep on that corner, and Dan gets a run at him now. He's gonna Peaceful's let him go, and it's no point. Pick your battles.
He knows it's not his fight, doesn't he? He knows Dan's pitted. He knows Dan isn't his fighters. Oh, that is a BMW of Disco now coming in for his stop at the end of lap 8, as does Peaceful Explosion then.
Yep.
Just trying to find him on my notebook on my list, so I can just mark down that they have pitted then. So
we're still on the Toy Story notebook?
We're still on the Toy Story. Yeah, no, we're on the Toy Story one. We've not filled it up yet. Phil as well comes into the pits at the end of lap 8, so it is just Gary and BT Targa, the only two who's not pitted yet, and they've got a few laps left to do it. Dan's got
in front of BT there. Yeah, I wonder if
BT must have made a mistake, because he was within a second of Gary, wasn't he?
Yeah, be careful with my car there, Paul. Don't damage it. It's my car must be having a nosebleed going this fast. You know, it's not used to going this quickly.
Not used to running in the Pro neither, is it? Hey, but
no, it's not. No, my car moved up. I didn't.
So there you see Gary just in the foreground. Then off on Orthodubs, only 2.7 in front, and Lapping in the mid-25s is Gary. You know, D-Big's doing the similar sort of pace. Andy down in P6. Andy's on a bit of a recovery drive since his spin earlier. What can he achieve in this race then? 18 seconds from Gary to Andy. When does Gary and BT Targa think of pulling the trigger? The only two to not have pitted. I think BT will fall behind Andy. Let's see where Gary will, though. Will Gary fall behind Andy, or will Andy have enough? Will Gary have enough pace to get in and out before he gets round?
These questions and more will all be answered very shortly.
Yeah, they will.
As we're on to lap 10. I felt like this felt like a very long race with 24 laps for me. I presume that's a normal race distance for SimPlay, is it?
Half an hour race distance normally.
Yeah.
Half an hour long. And that was based off of
that
race.
Works out to in laps.
That was based off of pace that the Pro do. 25s. Pretty much, we're seeing a lot of 24s come in, but mainly 25. So 1 minute 25 was about 24 laps. We worked out in the off season. As there is Peaceful looking up the inside of Xmart at Paddock Hill Bend, and can you get that move done as they come in towards Druids? I'd say so, given that the fact that if you're up the inside at Druids, you 99% of the time get the job done. It takes a brave man to keep it around the outside and get it back up the inside at Graham Hill Bend, but. Peaceful getting that one done.
Spin out and take the person on the inside out.
Yes, that one as well. But Peaceful here, tell you what, looking on the money at the minute.
Yeah, he's looking well. Let's not curse him, but with that, let's move on to Xmart's car instead, so we don't jinx Peaceful too much.
Now, that is Andy, I think, just in front of them. Well, Andy's 10 seconds up the road. That's not Andy then, because that's not 10 seconds up the road. That'll be Peaceful, isn't it? It'll be Disco just in the foreground. Peaceful, speaking of him, a little wide coming through Westfields and through Dingledell, and Xmart gets back in front of him as they head up towards the Sheen curve now, and nicely done from Xmart. Peaceful. We've spoke about that outside curve being a bit dangerous and losing the rear of the car. Xmart did well there as Peaceful was getting off the power to sort of control it. Xmart was brave enough to go, you know what, I'm gonna go for it here.
Yeah, I think Peaceful was also smart not to fight it once he'd come on, made that mistake. He didn't fight it ridiculously, kind of thought, well, okay, resign the position and regroup and go again. Because you fight that, it's not a great place to be fighting with another car, is it?
No, and how many times in testing and last night did we see that you sort of run over that outside curb, you sort of lose the car, and it goes right. And for Xmart Peaceful there to do that and get away with it, because if Peaceful lost that rear end, that would have gone straight into the side of Xmart, and that would have been both their racers up in smoke. But both of them, hats off to them two. At the minute, one man who I'm not seeing the best of so far since his earlier spin is Mazda. He's well down in 10th place at the minute, has pitted as well, and is so far 15-16 seconds off the back of Phil then in the Lamborghini. This the closest battle on track at the minute, and Peaceful trying to find a way through after his mistake last lap. They come through Hawthorns now and towards Westfield they go, and I tell you what, he's having a look. He'll be a brave man to look into the corner.
He will there.
Set him up, don't look to overtake, and has he just I think he's had another moment at Westfields because he's lost out a little bit, Kelly.
Such tricky selection of corners, these ones. So you go in as fast as you possibly dare, and on just little lifts to go through these things, and it's just so easy to put a wheel wrong, and then it's all over, and it on this track things go wrong very, very quickly.
Indeed they do. Lap 12 we're on. Gary has to make his pit stop relatively soon then, because the pit window will be closing at the end of lap 18, so hopefully Gary remembers that and gets himself in. Xmart looked a bit deep on the way out of Paddock Hill Bend, and that's allowed Peaceful to have a run up the inside to Druids, and job done again for Peaceful.
Yeah, I think this one's going to run and run. I tell you what has happened is BT has got in front of Dan.
Has Dan made a mistake this lap then?
Yeah, I think Dan's made a mistake because he was 1 point something or other behind Gary. Now he's 3.2 with BT in front of him. I think Dan's made a bit of a mistake there,
Yeah, I think you might be right. Kieran Argent in the chat saying Kelly's car's not used to being the right way up.
Funnily enough, last night's car went over as well. Yeah, so the Renault's been on its roof and back on its wheels already.
From your teammate, if I remember, as well.
Yeah. Yeah, Gary in the pits.
Yeah, Gary is in the pits then at the end of lap 12, so that will relinquish the lead to BT Targa for the first time in the Pro Series, and Dan did a 1:28.2, so 3-4 seconds off of his pace would suggest he had a bit of a moment somewhere then on that lap. Gary then in the pits, we said, will he come out before Andy? The answer is no. He's on his way out the pits. He's not even going to come out before Fury, so Fury then has lost out to Andy somewhere as well, actually, looking at a leaderboard. Fury must have made a mistake somewhere, because he's lost out to Andy, as Fury's granddad says, did Fury have a moment? So he must have noticed the same thing as well. Yeah. Gary, though, well in front of Peaceful, who still continues to have his battle with X-Mart in the back, a bit further back. Mazdav's made another mistake. He's dropped even further off the back of Phil, who is gaining on the back of these two. He's only 3 seconds behind these two now.
Yes, indeed. And the more they battle, the more he gets a chance to catch them up. So, again, for those of you who are new to SimPlay, welcome along. Secondly, where have you been all this time? But if you're new to it, we get a little marker. Phil. Yeah. That wouldn't have happened in Cora, would it?
No, that would have been... well, I mean, it probably... I'm surprised you didn't make a comment of he's used to cutting the grass or something, you know.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's the default position that he's been used to with the grass cutter that he had before. That's Gary who gets... No, Little Leach gets back past him, isn't it?
Yeah, but that's to unlap himself.
Got to get used to these new cars, these new colours. As I was saying, for those of you who are new to watching, we get a little marker on our screen which tells us who's within 1 second of the car in front of them. You don't get that on your screens at home. And this is the only battle that's close at the moment. This is the only one that's within 1 second. So it's X-Mart and Peaceful Explosion. Peaceful has seemed to have kind of got himself a little bit of a comfortable gap now, hasn't he?
Bit of daylight between the two of them. One thing I've noticed, where I was just saying that as well, D Biggs, the earliest of the the guys at the front to make his pit stop, pits at the end of lap 4. He's up in third. He jumped Andy and Fury through the pits. Yeah. So D Biggs, early pit stop, and them guys are all within 5 seconds of each other. That is an interesting one for me. The shake and bake car should, more than likely, will get ahead of BT Targa during BT's pit stop. But D Biggs we said the silent assassin of BT Targa. Well, D Biggs has silently gone under the radar and got himself the undercut and has done the job.
Well, we didn't see his pit stop on screen. If he had a quick one, which these shake and bake boys have got the pit stops very well under control. If he had a quick one, that would have certainly helped. You know, and I mean, there's a lot of time to be saved by getting the pit stop just right. So that might have helped him. And again, Mr. Consistent, isn't he? Always there or thereabouts, D Biggs. Yeah.
How many times before his little break to Silverstone, where he didn't race at Le Mans? How many times was we saying that this guy is so consistent, is brilliant? He had a bit of a poor time after he come back from Silverstone after the Le Mans meeting. So that was Laguna, Dubai, and Monza. But how consistent was he at the beginning of that season? Was always on the podium. I think a worst result of 4th. And that's really what helped the Shake and Bake team win that title, because Dan at the start had a bit of a slow start before he started to take all his wins towards the back end of the season.
Yes, you're quite right. And I mean, this guy's a contender, a real contender for the championship. You know, as you say, you were quite right. After Silverstone, he missed out on Le Mans, which was one of his favourites, and he did say that he hated Laguna, and he had a poor end to the season. But he was still in the championship fight towards the end there, wasn't he? This guy, D Biggs, a real contender. He loves this Porsche. I think it wasn't part of the inter-team chat, but I think D Biggs was the one really kind of pushing to stay in the Porsche.
Yeah, because there was rumours, wasn't there, that Dan wanted to try and head towards the Lamborghini direction.
Yeah, absolutely. He did say that he wanted to go Lamborghini, but D Biggs wanted to stick with the Porsche. And there was times last night where I was saying I wanted my Porsche back, Dan and D Biggs make such a great team. Yeah. That they come to an agreement. So, and there we are. And BT's still to pit, is he not? Or
BT is still to pit at the minute, but still leads Dan by 1.6 seconds. He's got to do within the next 2 laps. He's got till the end of lap 18 to get himself into the pits then, as we see Andy getting closer to D-Biggs. 2 seconds is that gap. He was half a second quicker last time around. Fury's just dropped off the back of Andy a little bit, hasn't had that pace. And what has happened to Peaceful then, as Gary has had to come back into the pits now. Gary 131 then was at... Oh, I'll explain why. Now, did Peaceful get caught up in Gary having a moment? Because Peaceful was just gapping Xmark better and better each lap. And he's
now, 3 seconds behind now,
Yeah, 3 seconds behind Xmark. For the evil Scotsman, aka Emo Guy, Andy's in the BMW. And do we miss you? Yeah, we miss seeing you out there on the track. You always provided good entertainment in the races, as I heard a car revving
Don't miss talking to you, though, Ian. I've spoken to Ian for a very long time. I haven't seen him for a very long time, and love to see you back at some point, Ian.
It would be brilliant. As BT Targa then now makes his pit stop at the end of lap 16, he comes in. So that is everybody's stops done. Gary then dropping down to P11 now. So that's allowed Master and Monkey Boy and Phil and Peaceful and Xmark to all get an extra position then. But the question is now, can Peaceful get ahead of Xmark or try and get on the back of Xmark to challenge for that lead? Fury then will get past BT Targa coming through the pits. We said Peaceful might, but that one's now not going to happen. BT Target will come out in P5. He's out the pits now, and there's his teammate in the background. Look, so BT ahead of Xmark, then 5th and 6th. Can Peaceful now then get on the back of Xmark? Does he have damage if he did get caught up with Gary? Now, Gary must have had a big moment somewhere to get that kind of damage.
Yes, he must have. Yeah, something we didn't see, obviously. I don't know if he lost it by himself or what happened, but to be real spoiler missing. I found last night I was carrying damage in race 2. I find that the Renault carries its damage quite well, minor damage, but as we saw, the rear spoiler was missing, and that's usually a sign that that it's really bad damage. Usually,
the Renault carries its damage like the Infiniti carries the ballast in the touring cars. It cheats.
Do we want to get into that?
No.
Do we want to get into that? Yeah,
no.
there's no. Well, do we?
No.
Do we want to get into how we think that there's something going on with that Infiniti that carries its ballast?
All I will say is it does make you wonder. I mean, Ash Sutton's a great driver, and I'll take nothing away from him. But it does make you wonder when the other two guys can't do it.
It does make you wonder, and I mean, Moffat is an okay driver, isn't he?
Yeah,
he's okay. He's had race wins. He's he's an okay driver, but he can't do what he can do with that Sutton can.
I take nothing away from Ash Sutton as a driver. He's a bit overly aggressive, but there's something with that car that just.
He seems to be able. I mean, he's either got an extreme talent because he doesn't seem to need to be on the racing line. He can put the car absolutely anywhere he wants.
Yeah,
and so he's either a very exceptional talent, or not taking. I like the guy, and I don't know he's everyone's cup of tea, but I like him, and he is an exceptional driver, but is he more exceptional than anyone else, or is there something we don't know about that car that's making it that fantastic?
Yeah, that's it.
Not wanting to start a conspiracy here, but
I said to
kilos.
I said to Master on Sunday that is the most overpowered touring car I've ever seen. And that's
it takes you back to the Audi days when they went four-wheel drive.
It does indeed.
Yeah. So Andy is getting closer now he's within a second now of D-Biggs.
He is. Sorry, Kelly.
Sorry,
another one I've noticed as well is Mazda's got the gap down to 2 seconds to Phil. Now, is Phil carrying that damage that we saw him have the spin earlier? Mazda getting that gap down as well for P8 and 9 at the minute. But like you say, Andy getting on the back of D-Biggs here. And Andy's looked quick. He just had that mistake early on, didn't he?
Yes, he did. He had that mistake which cost him dearly. But again, it's looking like this car might be good for Andy.
It looks a lot better than the Ginetta, and I know it's only race 1 and we've got 23 more races this season to come, but it looks a lot better than the Ginetta already.
Yes, it certainly does. So we're expecting big things from Andy.
Indeed we are. D-Biggs then lapped about 6-7 tenths slower than Andy last time around. We're on lap 19 of 24, so the pit window is shut and nobody can pit. Well, they could pit if they need to, but everybody's made their stop, so it's not like anybody's playing against the rules. The pit window is, though, shut. If they pit, they need to do so probably for damage or the fact that they've not topped up enough fuel. Andy then really charging on D-Biggs here. Fury behind must have had a dreadful last lap, because he's dropped well off the back of these two, and he's only 5 seconds up the road from Xmart, who's got ahead of BT Target. So has Peaceful Explosion. So what has happened to BT then? Because he's dropped from 5th all the way down to 7th.
What's he done to my car?
He's bashing your car up, Kelly.
Oh, you didn't see me treat it like that, did you? Often.
Yeah. Still not been upside down yet, though.
No, that'll come. That'll come. Emo guy now is accusing us of a conspiracy.
Yeah.
Never.
Don't know what you mean.
75 kilos was going really quickly.
Yeah.
Like a 4-wheel drive Audi.
All I'll say as well is, right, Turkington and Ingram, 2nd and 3rd in the championship, they wasn't that fast with less weight on board, was there?
No. Well, there we go. Anyway.
And, just another one, 75 kilos of ballast around a track that suits the front-wheel drive cars, particularly the Hondas. In a rear-wheel drive car, yeah.
Yeah. Not saying anything, but, you know.
Yeah. As Andy now has that gap, 6/10. Yeah, go on.
Just to throw it in there, we never landed on the moon. Didn't do it. Never happened.
Oh.
Anyway, moving on.
That's a different kettle of fish.
That is a big one.
That's a conversation for another day.
And Michael Jackson is alive and well.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm telling you, alive and well. It was all to earn money. That's all it was.
And England won a Football World Cup. I don't believe it.
That was daft. Something's just unbelievable, aren't
Exactly.
What, in like 1966 or something?
Yeah.
That's my only football fact there. That's the only football fact you'll get from me.
So they say. You got more chance of Plato winning a touring car championship. But anyway, Andy then.
That might have happened 3 times as well, but there you
go. Just twice. D-Biggs there getting a bit of a wiggle coming through Sterling's, and Andy right on the back of him now, and it was 2 times that Plato won a championship. Neil's got 3.
Turkington's got 4.
Turkington's got 4, so is Andy Rouse.
And I think, apart from Lewis Hamilton, Plato is the most successful British driver ever, most wins ever, apart from Hamilton.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm not being a Plato fan.
No.
Just adopting his moves.
Yeah, just adopting his moves just by parking it on the apex from last night. We're on to lap 21 of 24, and Andy is really now on the back. Andy is really on the back of.
I'm being picked on. It's unfair. Someone have a word with the stewards. Where is he? There he is. Peaceful. Always loved you.
Andy really on the back of D-Biggs now, and Peaceful can't get on the back of Xmart yet. They're sort of trading lap times at the minute. Xmart's trying to catch Fury down then. Mazda's got himself ahead of Phil, so that one has happened, and Gary now finds himself gaining on the back of Phil as well. So Phil really seems to be struggling carrying that damage on the Lamborghini, and we saw some damage on Welsh's car last night when he had a bit of a wobble, looked like some suspension damage, couldn't keep the car in a straight line, and unfortunately Dean Wysocki got caught up in that. And look, Phil, you can just see the Lamborghini very twitchy as Disco's back in the pits again. Not quite sure what that one's for, but Gary now up into 9th, Phil down to 10th, and look at these two going at it still.
I reckon that this is going to come of nothing, right? And
it's one of them.
Being these guys are both really good drivers, and being that Brands is not an easy place to overtake, I think with reasonable consistency and not with a huge power advantage, that Andy's going to be stuck there. Do you know what I mean? D-Biggs is Mr. Consistent, as we said, and unless he drops it and makes a proper mistake, and Andy looking a bit more loose than Biggs is, so I don't think Andy's going to be able to make it stick. Not saying that he can't, and it won't, but that's just my theory on it.
It's one of them, isn't it, where the build-up's happening, as Peaceful must have dropped it somewhere, because Fury's got himself ahead of Peaceful Explosion. No, sorry, Fury must have dropped it somewhere because Xmart got himself ahead of Fury, and Peaceful's now on the back of him. Xmart is close by as well, so Peaceful, I think he's lost it. I think Peaceful's lost it coming through Druids. He has indeed, and that will allow this BT Target traditions. BT Target then is going to get back. He can't get it back on the road here.
Slippery there. I found that slippery just on that grass.
Where's Mazda then? Mazda's not far behind. He's just coming on the exit to Druid, so Mazda could find himself P7. That will now mean that
look at this.
Yeah, this
is Xmart into 4th place. We haven't talked about him much all the way through this race because he's been nowhere.
And you said BT was the silent assassin. It's this one.
this is it. I mean, X-Mart, we haven't spoken much about him. Lovely guy, Mart is, and go on prolaps in Nicky's car. And, I mean, he's no slouch. He's a touring car champion over on Motive, you know, so... but he has got Fury in close company. Now, these two raced Pro-Am last year, so they've got previous... they know how each other's go. Look, Fury's got the power.
He's done him because he's took that Mercedes underneath. I tell you what, I tip my hat to Fury there, because I was just watching Fury while you were saying that, and the Fury of old maybe would have just tapped the rear, just nudged X-Mark coming through Clark Curve clearways at that final part. The Fury of new was patient earlier on the brakes, tucks it underneath and gets the job done into turn 1. Fury has developed so well over these last couple of seasons, and that was a fantastic manoeuvre. Opportunistic is the word I'd use, because he knows his stuff, knows where to get the car parked in around Brands Hatch, and he's done just that. That has put him up into P4, well, back into P4 now. And Fury then, what a job from him at the moment, as Andy still looking on the back of D-Biggs and has a look in towards Sterling's, doesn't get the job done. Andy being very, very patient here, and I just see D-Biggs every time we go on board him, every time at Sterling's, he drops it there. Now, do you want a little thing about D-Biggs? Do you want a little bit of a fact about him? Previous league, going back to last year, was like a touring car based league, pretty much what we did last Tuesday night for our year anniversary here at SimPlay. And me, D-Biggs, and a guy called Jack was all up for the title in the Ginetta GT5s. Then I got robbed off against Unorthodox earlier this year.
Oh, God, again.
But D-Biggs, final race of the season, never. Final race of the season around here, D-Biggs come onto the GP loop, lost the car, and it meant that I won the championship from him and Jack. So has he learnt from his mistakes? Does he have a few flashbacks when he gets to that part of the circuit, knowing that it's earlier on? Oh, I tell you what! Oh, you can't make it up!
That's exactly what you said!
You can't make it up! In wrong place! But I D-Biggs, I am so sorry! The curse of the comment.
Ladies and gentlemen, the commentator's curse is real.
If anybody says it's a lie, there's your proof. It's not. D-Biggs then has dropped it. It was here where D-Biggs dropped it, where Andy was now. I hope he's not. I hope not. Yeah. I hope Dan's not listening as well, because they'll be in a party together. Dom, I am so sorry. I just wanted to drop a fact out. We need to cut to Unorthodox, to be fair, because this is the last lap of the race.
It's the last lap.
And he's already...
who's this guy?
Yeah, who is this guy?
Much of him.
He's gone in this second part. Oh, I tell you what. Ooh, steady Dan.
On, Dan.
We've seen people get disqualified there, but Unorthodox then he's going to finish where he left off last season. Race win for him, and how Andy may be licking his lips at a P2 from him. Good drive though, D-Biggs. Heck of a job from him, because he was fourth or fifth, fifth or sixth. P3 for D-Biggs. At the end of this one, what could have been P2? Apologies to Dom if he was listening. Fury, good start to his time in the Pro for Fury. Look at the gap he's got over X-Mart already as well. Fury then, a P4 or back in the Pro.
Done, Fury.
He'll take that one all the way. X-Mart as well with a P5. He'll be happy with that one on his Pro debut. It is, so he'll take that. It will then be BT Targa after Peaceful Spin.
We'll have to have a word with him about how he's treating my car. We'll have to have some chat when we have our Prolapse meeting next week, and I'll have to have a stern talking to him about how he's treating my car. But it will be BT who will take 6. Peaceful, and again, what could have been for Peaceful, and same to be said for Maz as well. Really, what could have been.
Yeah, and the biggest one as well, Gary was running up the front, don't forget, earlier, was leading this race at one stage. He's actually lost back out to Phil, who's got damage, so Phil has managed to get back in front. Will Phil keep that spot? Now, the top 6 can't qualify, so that's BTX Mark Fury. I'll tell you what, look at this. Gary's going to try, but I don't think Renault's got the legs in the straight line over the Lambo, and it hasn't, as Phil will come home to take P9. Gary, then, the two-time champ, P10. Little Each did cross the line 13th. Disco crossed it P12, and Monkey Boy, then, will be P11 in that one. But fastest lap of the race.
Looking like Andy to me.
Yeah, just going through, it is Andy then who's got the fastest lap then in this one. So not maximum points, but he takes the 2 bonus points in the first race with the fastest lap and qualifying. What an interesting job that is then. We'll be right back in a couple of moments with the interviews from the top 3. So to make sure you don't go anywhere. Grab yourself a drink though while we are in a mid-session pit stop. We'll be back in about 5 minutes. And we're clear.
Okay, I'm going to nip to the loo.
Yeah.
What did...
Matt Neal's a legend? Oh. Yes, same here.
Right, who's here? I saw Andy turn up. Hello, Andy.
Hello.
How you doing, mate? All right?
Yeah, not too bad. You good?
Yeah. You know, living the dream.
That was fun. Bit bummed out that I not had that spin at the start though.
Yeah, yeah, that BMW looking better though.
Oh yeah, definitely. It was my own mistake. Like with the Ginetta, there were moments where I had no control, but that was my own mistake. I know I did. So.
You a Brands fan?
I like the track, but I like doing a few laps of it. Doing like 24 is very, very difficult because
it's hard going, isn't it? Yeah, it's full concentration.
The curbs and the camber on some of the corners makes it a real challenge. That's the problem. It's like for 4 or 5 laps I can deal with it, but having to be that focused for a full race is hard. Yeah,
I definitely agree with that. Yeah. I was glad to see the back of it last night. I really was.
Dan did well. It was consistent. I mean, the reason I made the mistake was because I was on the back of Dan, kind of kept to and froing on the gap to him, and then lost about a couple of seconds and made the mistake because I was trying to catch up.
Yeah. Is Dan and Biggs in? Are they?
Yeah, they jumped in.
Yeah.
Oh, good battle there, D Biggs. Unlucky there on the last time.
Let you have that one.
Did you hear what? Dom, do you listen to the?
I was listening to it, and I was thinking, because obviously the stream's a bit behind, isn't it? And I was like, it's coming, and then he said it. It does exist. Curse is a real thing. Oh.
Yes, it is real. Commentator's curse is real.
Can I just start off by apologising to Dominic?
So you should.
Because I think I ballsed up your race there.
Thing is, I'd already, because the stream's about 20 seconds behind, I could hear you talking about how he messed up before, and I already knew what's going to happen because it already happened. I just heard you saying about how it was going to happen.
Did you hear what I was saying about two consistent drivers, that Brands is such a difficult place to overtake if you're kind of matched, and you were kind of Andy, you were up behind Dom for like so long, so close to him for so long, with nowhere to go.
He was defending really well.
Yeah, absolutely. If Matt hadn't waved his magic wand at Dom, it would have been.
What it was two things. I was hoping Dan was going to fuck up because he robbed my GT5 title earlier this year, and the other one was I just thought I'd bring up when I did win one, but it did happen to Sobe that Dom Biggs dropped it.
Did you think that you'd been robbed on that GT5? You've never mentioned it.
I got punted. Well, it was wet, so I'm surprised it didn't get red flagged and stopped and pushed back an extra week because
really,
racing in the wet. Racing in the wet's difficult, apparently.
First I've ever heard of that, Matt.
That's Matt finally admit.
Laps, and we should have left it there.
Yeah, I would have been happy with that.
You should have just done Branson, Donny, and gone, yep, championship done. See ya. Cheers. Little Leeches just text me, this is awful in race conditions, lol. Lapped 3 times, it's so weak. To a little tap and mega damage. No, well, shouldn't have picked the Renault. Right, that's worked.
What, Andy, what a lap at Quali, man.
Oh, yeah.
Everything went right on that lap, apart from the second to last corner, or no, third to last corner.
I've done a 22, but I didn't get a 22.6. Best I've done is a 22.8.
Yeah,
I couldn't get near that.
That's the quickest. That's the quickest I've seen him like build up to this at Brands. 22.8. Me and Dan.
That's the quickest stuff I've done. Full stop. In practice or anything.
Wow.
I'm my quickest in practice was 22.8, but that's the actual quickest lap I've done in the whole build-up.
Hats off to you. That was.
I got my pressures all wrong, and that was it. Quali was kind of just get second and try and jump me at the start.
Yeah, he did that. I mean, to be honest, at the start, it was difficult keeping up with you at times, but then I dropped a little bit off you, and I was about 2 seconds behind when I had the spin, and I was kind of getting a bit impatient because I knew you were pulling it away, and I wanted to stop you from pulling away, so I started pushing a bit too hard and spun it.
Yeah.
But,
and then my pressures at the end went through the roof. My rears just went from 26 to 28 pressure.
But you know what, I had a problem, but it wasn't that. I messed up on my engine. I forgot to put my radiator on a decent setting, so by the end of the race I had about 70% engine damage.
We forgot to mention Phil's 50th race. Bastard.
Oh, I told you about that as well.
Kelly, you had one job!
Yeah, don't give me one job, it's no good.
Yeah, well, I'll mention it in the next bit.
Trying to post stuff on Reddit is rubbish.
Right, gonna go back live. Welcome back then, ladies and gentlemen, to the second race this season. Before we start, just apologies to Phil, because that was his 50th appearance. Forgot to mention it in the race, but Phil now has met the milestone of 50 races. Andy will make that one next week at race 2 at Dubai, so a few coming to that 50th appearance mark as well. That's interesting to see, but we have got the top 3 in the chat. I did apologise to Dom in the mid-session break there. Hope all is forgiven, and we'll start with you, Dom. A bit of a under-the-radar race. You sort of had a good start, fell back a bit, and the early pit stop really did you the world of good.
Yeah, I think what helped me out there was I went into the pit stop, I had a little bit of coming together with Disco. I had a bit of damage on the front, so I thought, let's get the pit stop out of the way. And I came out in clear air, and that was it for the rest of the race, really. And I think that's what helped.
Andy put you under some immense pressure at the end, and it was a fair few laps that Andy was right behind you. Good little battle between yourselves. What happened at the mistake? Sort of lets the cog around.
I think the commentator's curse is a real thing.
For sure. For sure. Believe it, it's real.
It does exist. It's out there, and it's waiting to hit.
Who would you like us to commentate on next?
I just made a mistake. I just put too much speed into that corner and lost the rear. That was what that was.
Good race from yourself though, starting as you carried on from last year. Mr. Consistent last season, is that the plan again this year? Hopefully take the fight more towards your teammate?
Yeah, see what we can do, have a bit more consistent. I need to take some races a bit more easy. Last year that was where I fell down. I feel pushing a bit too hard and losing it in silly decisions.
Well, best of luck, mate. Best of luck for race 2.
Well done.
We've got Andy in as well, and Andy, last year you couldn't wait to get rid of that Ginetta. I bet you're glad you're in that BMW now.
Yeah, it's a much quicker car. I was pretty happy with pole in the qualifying, but then the race got jumped by Dan, and Dan had some strong pace in the first part. At times I was keeping with him, at times I was dropping back a bit. I think the turbulent air was messing with my car a little bit, and then at one point it dropped a couple of seconds behind him, and panicked a little bit, started pushing a bit too hard to get back on, and I ended up having that spin and drop behind Fury and Biggs.
Yeah.
So from then on it was just a bit of an uphill battle. But it was a good battle at the end with D-Biggs, and managed to put him under enough pressure to force him into a mistake, but he did hold firm for a good while, so that was enjoyable, but fair play to him.
You, like you say, amazing pace, especially in the qualifying session. I'd said on air that the quickest I'd seen was me and Dan in a practice session who were 22.8. 22.6. You said off air that's the quickest you've gone around this track. That was one heck of it. Was that just the as people describe, the perfect lap?
I think I always tend to do that in qualifying when it actually comes to the event. Beforehand, you're kind of just trying to get a feel for things, but then when the blinkers come on and your adrenaline sort of kicks in, you do tend to go, or at least I can only speak for myself here, I do tend to find that extra gear, so luckily I was able to produce that.
In terms of race 2, you start towards the back, obviously the reverse grid qualifying. What can you do from there?
Just hope that people in front of me are kind and don't push too hard when I'm trying to overtake them.
Well, best of luck, buddy. We'll let you get back to it.
Thank you, cheers guys.
And we've got the defending champion with us as well. And Dan, it's really where you left off, isn't it? It's kind of business as usual, straight out the gate.
Yeah, not a bad way to start the season, is it? Taking a race win. And yeah, that's one way to start defending the title.
Now, Andy out-qualified you with, as we can only describe, a cracking lap. Did you think that, oh well, I've got my work cut out here, I need a good start? Was the start important?
As soon as I saw that 22.6, which I've not got that close to, I knew it was all going to be about the start. I knew that I was going to be on the right-hand side, so as long as I got the launch to turn 1, then that was it. Then that was it. Down the inside, I would have been there. So, and it worked out.
It did work out. You kind of didn't look back from then on. You made, though, a little mistake at one point of the race when you was behind just got in front of BT Targa. Any problems with the car? Tyres feeling okay, or was that just an error on your behalf?
A bit of both. I misjudged my pressures, so I hadn't done that long a run for a while, and I messed up the pressures with the medium cloud, so I had a lot more pressure in the rear tyres than I actually needed, so they were quite hard by the end. But yeah, just a little bit of like a brain fart as such, so just making little mistakes here and there that I didn't need to make. Once I got my head clear, I then just focused on that and just stick to BT. I was about 2 seconds back, so I was happy to just sit there.
Now, what can you do in race 2? Now, I'm not 100% sure, but I think Liam's been disqualified because there's no 13th place on that list, but on my phone, he's 13th. I think Liam's been disqualified for speeding in the pit, so you now get start from 9th, not 10th. What can you do from there?
Stay out of trouble. I mean, Brands Hatch is a difficult track to overtake, so maybe it's just about the patient game and maybe waiting for the pits to meet the jump, but staying out of trouble will be the key thing.
Yeah, well, we wish you the best luck, Dan, and we'll let you get back to it.
Thank you.
So, top 3, Kelly, that are very happy until the commentators have to commentate on them. And look who's just gone in provisional pole at the minute, comes back out of the pits now. So Liam has got himself qualified. Fiona's granddad, where's Liam gone to? That's what alerted me to it. And I think Liam has got himself disqualified from qualifying here then.
Yeah, it comes up on my race feed as disqualified, pit lane violation. Before that, it came up as 1 grid penalty, pit lane violation, then disqualified pit lane violation. So is he not only 1 incident, he had 2. It's just managed to get himself disqualified. Are we right in saying that Liam's done something new? Hasn't he got a new machine or new something or other?
No, not yet. No, he's still on the same. Yet. No, he's still on the old stuff. Still sat upstairs on the old stuff. So I'm not sure what that one is.
Okay.
Liam's
still
error,
at your place,
I suppose.
Is he?
Yeah, he's still upstairs at the minute.
All right. So he hasn't. Yeah. Right. Okay. Yeah, well, he'll be downstairs in a minute because he's been disqualified. Well, he's still getting the race, though, won't he?
Yeah, he'll get in the race. He'll be starting from P13 on the grid, so it promotes everybody other than poor Peaceful Explosion, who will start 14th and last. Everybody else gets a 1-place promotion, and Liam will start P13 then. So it's Mazda and Gary on the front row, followed by this man Disco. And what can he do at the minute? Not really setting the timing screens alike. Nobody really is so far. Gary was green sector 3, as was Little Leach. But they are coming through sector 1, I believe, now. And we'll see if they go green again. Monkey Boy doesn't, Phil doesn't, Little Leach doesn't. What about Gary? Gary's gone green sector 1. So Gary then looking like he's on a bit of a better lap at this moment in time. Mazda's not on any improvement, and he's coming up to the line now. He's coming round the Clark curve, but he's not on anything better here. Can he improve through the final sector? Is that where he'll gain a bit more time, or is this all he's got in that Audi? Well, oh no, outlap. That'll be why he's not gaining any time there then.
Yeah, that'll be it. Yeah, absolutely.
So back to Gary then, who was up in sector 1. He's coming up to sector 2 and he's 4/10 up. That's good enough for pole at the minute. Purple sector 2 on the phone. So not just a green sector, a purple sector. Disco though has gone purple sector 1, so we'll stay with Gary. We'll then jump to Disco in just a minute. Little Each improved through the middle sector himself as well. He's just in front of Gary, but will he improve enough to get himself off that bottom of the grid? 1.1 separating the top 6. That's not bad, is it? As Little Each doesn't improve any. Gary though does go quicker, and 2.5 tenths now. Disco on a flyer at the minute. He's 6 tenths behind. Purple sector 1. What can he do? He's purple in the middle sector and 4 tenths. Oh, he's ruined it. Oh,
unlucky.
Disco.
He's
got time to improve, and he's got time to put one more lap in. But what that could have been. We only live to know Mazda not improving in that first sector, so no improvement from him. He's going to need a good lap in that Audi. What can Disco do then on the final run? He will be the last man. In fact, no, who's behind Disco? Is that Phil?
Yeah, I think Phil's.
Yeah, so Phil will get one more lap in as well. He's on an out lap. And then I think it's Mazda behind Phil, because he's come through sector 2 and no improvement for Mazda at the minute. Mazda then will get one more stab at this one. Gary's green in sector 1 again, so Disco will have another run, Mazda will have another run, and then it's back to... Oh, there's a spinner. Who's the spinner? Is that Little Each, I think, who's had a spin? There was a dot stationary further back. No, it wasn't Little Each. It was by the Little Each instance. It was Gary, so I think Gary's done. Was quicker in sector 1 and 2. I think he's had a moment somewhere, and I don't think he'll improve. But could he get to the line here, Kelly? There might just be chance for him to sneak one more lap in here. Little Each and Phil will get another run here.
Seconds.
Disco, purple, sector 1 again. Gary, green and green, but I think he's had a problem after sector 2 timing beam.
He's going to get another crack at it.
He is, yes, definitely down on his time then in that final sector. Disco then will be the first man to finish qualifying. It will then be Mazda after him, and Mazda's now gone purple first sector. Disco, no improvements in the middle sector, so can he find anything in this final sector then? Mazda flying through sector 1 as well, so what can he find? Little Each and Phil go back to the pits, so they are done for qualifying 2 here at the minute. Disco McDisco face then comes across the line. Any improvement? Yes. He goes second, 200ths of a second at the moment for him. So close. But this man's sector 1 was purple. His sector 2 was no better. A bit like Disco McDisco face. Can he improve in the final sector to take pole away? He needs 2.5 tenths at the minute. Gary's also green in sector 1. We'll keep an eye on him. What can Mazda do then as he crosses the line? No improvement. So, purple sector 1, but nothing in the end. It'll be Monkey Boy to cross the line next, who's green and green as well in his sector times. What can Monkey Boy do? Gary in the background. Well, there's his chance has gone as he's lost it. I think he's lost the car. So this will be it for qualifying. Monkey Boy will be the last man to complete his run. Will he improve anything? 1.1 off the pole time at the minute. What can he gain here? Oh, he improves, but he stays P4. Yeah, his time improved to under a second, but stays P4. Mazda then will get P3. Disco on the front row of the grid, but not where he wanted to be, and it's the two-time champion who's on pole position and gets that extra bonus point at the minute. So it's Gary on pole from Disco McDisco face. Mazda then in P3 with Monkey Boy 4. Phil 5th, Little Each 6th. And then it's the first of the non-qualifiers randomly generated of Fury, Andy, Unorthodox 9th, X-Mart 10th, BT Targa 11th, D-Biggs 12th. They all got promoted one spot because Liam got himself a demotion. Now I think Liam may carry that one-place grid penalty as well to put Peaceful 13th. We'll find out when we go to the race, which is now. It does promote Peaceful to 13th, so Liam's disqualification will put him at the back of the grid.
Yes, indeed. And what was I going to say? I just do this. Here we go. Gonna
28 people watching. Sorry, 28 people watching the stream and 21 likes. Guys, hit that thumbs up button.
Right. Yeah, mine must have crashed or something because I've only got 7 likes on mine.
Oh, mine says 21.
I'm sure yours is. Oh no, don't. That was a dislike. That's not. That was me.
Yeah,
my bad.
I've lost a like now.
Yeah, because I unliked. There we go. We're like again. Do it. There we go. Do it. Where are we? On board. There we go. Right, Daniel did this at the start of yesterday's race, where he dropped through the grid order, and I thought it was quite nice.
Yeah, I
kind of see where these people are, So if I can get through it before they sync up, and as I say, you can see their perspectives of where did Andy? Yeah, goes Andy. Unorthodox, X-Smart, BT Targa, D-Biggs, Peaceful, and Bozzy at the back.
Yeah, Bozzy at the back. Unorthodox then.
Bozzy at the back.
On 25 points after his race win, 3 points ahead of Andy, and them two are together, would you believe it, on the grid. Back on row 1, 2, 3, 4. For row 4, they are together on 8th and 9th on the grid. Sorry, no, Andy's just in front of Dan by 1 row, should I say. So Andy on row 4, Dan on row 5. That is going to be an interesting one to watch there. I know, obviously, 3 points after round 1. What are you talking about the championship format? It means nothing at this stage, and you'd be right.
Nothing.
But that is what I like to do. It's the things I bring to you guys. We are ready to go. We're green here for race 2, and Gary has not got that Renault off the line, but Disco did. He got the BMW like lightning. Mazda, it looks like he's improved his race starts over the off-season. As he's launched, he normally gets terrible starts, but he's up into P3, and I tell you what, not a bad job from Mazda. Everybody looks like they're through cleanly then, and up to Druids they go. Gary going to try and hang it around the outside, but like we said, you've got to be a brave and crazy man to get it up there. Disco defends in towards Graham Hill, and Gary can't get nothing done. Down in towards Graham Hill they come, and all 14 look like they're through relatively unscathed.
Yes, they do. Clean start from everyone by the looks of it. Rear-wheel drive power over that Renault, and the Renault doesn't start as well as the Porsche.
Look at Bozzy. Sorry to cut you off. P8 from 14.
Yeah, that was a good start.
Gary then.
Like to have seen that one back.
Yeah, that one would have been a brilliant start from Liam. As Fury then pushes Little Leach a little bit wide. That's all fair in love and war. And Mazda was looking around the outside. Little Leach trying to come back at him, but you're not going to do it into Westfields. And I tell you what, Little Leach, careful as you rejoin and steady as he goes. He was. Here comes D-Biggs then. No, Unorthodox, sorry, with that Bozzy boy right behind him, and Phil's wide, and I think that's caught Dan, and Bozzy, and Andy, and D-Biggs, and the 2 Team Prolapse. Liam's upside down, he's now back on all 4s, and what drama. I think that started with Phil losing the rear of the Lamborghini.
Yes, it looked like it, and just a chain reaction of all these guys getting smashed. D-Big's car is beaten, absolutely beaten, and yeah, that's absolute carnage, like watching Pro-Am again, wasn't it? But you're quite right, I think it was one thing that just started a chain reaction, and that just destroyed so many. And where's Dan's car? Dan's looking not too bad, his car. BT... Was BT in that one?
Yeah, no, both Prolapse cars was in that one. What's happened to Mazda's 6? So he's had a problem somewhere. He's dropped down the order. Andy, Phil, and that Bozzy boy into the pits. They've all got some substantial damage. Look at them, and they will have to pit again.
Yes, they will. That's the way that Pro works. They'll be there for a while doing that. So, who gained out of that? Probably Little Leach.
Yeah, I'd say so. Mazda didn't gain anything because he looks like he's dropped it after. But Little Leach, I'd have to say, gained the most. And the front 3 by pulling away so much.
Yes, indeed. So Gary all over Disco. And yeah, this is a good, interesting battle, this one. He's all over the back of Disco. Disco, I'm sure he said somewhere along the line he wasn't a fan of this track. But I'm sure if he took a race win, he'd be keener on it.
One man I'm interested to see what can do in this race now, Kelly, is Fury in 3rd.
Yes. Yeah. You can see the leaders, so they're not too far ahead. As looks like Andy's just coming out. It's going to be Fury's guys going to be laps as they come right out. The pit lane just feeds right out just before you go. Oh, and Gary's lost it on Paddock Hill. Gary's
all
lost
on
it
his own
again. Yeah, all on his own. Yeah, I think he was a little bit unsighted by whoever that was coming out of the pits.
Yeah, I think it was Liam leaving the pit lane, and like you just said, Kelly, it is very unsighted. Awful. It feeds straight out to turn 1. It's terrible.
Yeah, it's awful the way the pit lane feeds out into this track, and the turn 1 is one of the trickiest corners anywhere in the world, really. It's unsighted, very, very tricky, and for the pit lane to be there as well, I think that just unsighted Gary a little bit, and gave him another pirouette. He seems to be very good at pointing it back in the right direction.
He does.
But that's a poor consolation, I would say. What
it's done, though, is it's put Little Leech on his tail, and it has meant that Fury now can hunt down Disco freely. Disco's got a bit of breathing space now as well, not under as much pressure as Mazda's got himself out of the Prolapse cars, and Gary is round again. And it's another spin, and this time he's losing positions here, and I don't know what he's running on that Renault to make it quick in a straight line, but it looks like he's got rid of all the downforce and everything, and he is struggling.
Yeah.
He's got a long way to go this season in that Renault.
Yeah, I found that once you drop the Renault once or twice, then like the Porsche is the same, to be fair. You've got to get the tyres back in the right window. Otherwise, it's just prone for going round and round and round. Certainly happened to me on as Dan goes up the inside, tucks onto the insides, put one over on BT. Is it? Yes, it is BT. Yep. Yeah. Best way to do it, I think. And I think the Renault might be the same. Once you've had a spin in it, it messes the car up.
I think you're right. Gary has pitted, so was Peaceful at the end of lap 3. The pit window is open, and for everybody that pitted just before it, they have to pit again. That is Liam being lapped by Mazda. Then Exmart as well comes into the pits, as does D Biggs. So D Biggs didn't pit first time round. He's been driving with that.
Look at that.
Yeah, that's going to be... Now, what he has done, though, Kelly, is he's saved a double pit stop.
Yes, he has. And is it worth it? Yeah, maybe. Could be. There was a lot of people in the same boat, so he might pick up some places. And be able to claw back something out of this race. Dan is now coming up to the back of Mazda. Dan's having to work for his money now, and having to have to overtake some people as he got caught up in that first lap. Oh, and he goes a little bit deep.
No, Little Leech. We've just gone past Little Leech, who's had a huge off, and he's lost his rear spoiler now, so he's... that is Bozzy Boy. No, it's Bozzy. It's Bozzy, a lap down, and that is BT Targa, who have lost it coming up through Sheen Curve. This will give Monkey Boy a place, and as he passes BT Targa, and now they come into Sterling's, and I tell you what, BT's got the wipers on, but he's not looking after your car very well in this second race, is he?
No, he's not. We're going to have words, me and Paul. We're going to have words. And it seems to be the reverse of the Pro-Am guys last night, where there was carnage in race 1 in Pro-Am, and they were all settled down a little bit in race 2. It's the opposite way round here. The Pro boys seem to have had it dialed on the first race, and in race 2 it seems to be wacky races again.
It does a little bit. Now, this is a battle I'm sure that a lot of us would have wanted to have seen in race 1, Unorthodox versus Mazda, and we've got it now. And remember back to Silverstone last year, where Dan and Gary had them 2 cracking races, where Dan pretty much followed Gary for the majority of the race and couldn't get past him. He did in race 2, but couldn't in race 1. Well, we've got it here with Dan and Mazda, and this is one I'm looking forward to see. 11 seconds behind the leaders. But this at the minute is what we've come to see. Phil back into the pits. He's now done his mandatory stop, and we have to wait for Andy and Liam to come back in for theirs, as well as everybody else. But Dan at the minute, hard place to overtake, Kelly. Very tight around here. Dan having a few looks, but not making any serious manoeuvres.
No, exactly like I said in race 1 with Biggs and Andy, that if the guy in front of you is quick and consistent, then you've got to find a place to overtake. Into the hairpin after, which is, what's the hairpin called?
Druids.
Into Druids is a good one if you can get down the inside on Paddock Hill Bend, and out of the last corner is usually a good one as well, which Dan did just a moment ago to BT, I think it was. So this is Paddock Hill Bend coming up to Druids. You need to be overlapping by the time you get to the bottom of the hill, pretty much, don't you, to get to the inside, and unless you really mug somebody off and do it a little sneaky like. So Dan's going to struggle here. Maz is he knows how to drive, and he's going to hold Dan up for a long time, I'm feeling.
Yeah, I've got the same feeling as you. He's a bit wide through Surtees, his Mazda there. That's allowed Dan onto the back of him a little bit.
A couple of lines through that corner, isn't there, Matt?
Yes,
do you know what I mean?
Some people take it tight, some people sort of middle of the road, others like to go nice and wide. And that's just driver preference, isn't it? Which is quicker, nobody knows, but it'll feel quicker if it shoots you a bit more. On board with Dan then as they come through Westfields and now through Dingle Dell, which is pretty much a nothing corner. Up the hill now towards the Sheen Curve, and Dan can't even see his braking zone as it's uphill. Can't really see the corner as he's that close to Mazda, as that is a slow Liam, I believe, because Fury is still 11 seconds up the road, so I think that's a slow Liam. It is a slow Liam. Look at the damage he's got.
Got out of the way as well.
Yeah, got out of the way. He knows he's got the bad damage, stays out of the way, doesn't want to cause an instant. Dan with a little wiggle there, coming through clearways into the Clark curve, and now then he just seems to lose to Master on this a little bit, doesn't he?
Yeah. I believe this is where Daniel drives, and I think a lot of people do. I tend to have the lower view.
Yeah. Is that? No, that's Andy. That's Andy.
I seem to have the lower view, which works for me. But Dan seems to be here. So this is the view that Dan's got here, as he's right tucked up behind Maz. So it's very close to him. So he's looking for that mistake, for Maz to make that mistake, without making a mistake himself. Now, by trailing so close.
One thing I've noticed, when you get to Druids, Dan really gets on the back of Mazda, and then the back half of this race, Audi seems to have the legs over the Porsche. Now, two things. Is Dan just weaker than Mazda in the second half of this track? Or is that Porsche carrying a little bit of damage from the collision earlier on lap 1? It's either or, isn't it, really? Mazda might just be a bit stronger than Dan at this section of the track, but here especially, Dan seems to get close to Mazda here, and then after this corner, Mazda just seems to be able to drive away from him, so that Dan isn't close enough come Paddock Hill and Druids to get the job done on Mazda.
He's closer this time through that section.
He is, but look, it's just now, look now, Mazda's just got the stretch over him, look, he's just started to pull a little gap.
Yeah.
And then by the time they get to Paddock, Dan's not close enough to get that little cutback. Dan's going to pit.
Dan's in the pit, so let's move on. I'll tell you who else is still racy, is Fury. He's only 1.2 off the lead at the moment, with that would be D Biggs in between the two of them, who's a lap down now from these guys. But Fury continuing his form of looking really racy in this meeting for sure.
He is, doesn't he? Can he be a bit more consistent? Liam then has got himself a time penalty for speeding in the pit, so he'll want to make
he's good at that.
More pit lane problems for Liam speeding in the pit lane. He is good at that. I think Dan struggles to see the apex right up Mazda's bumper, says JR in the chat. That'll be based off the camera angle we had. And if he runs that camera angle, I'd be struggling to see him as well. As that Fury is getting closer to Disco here. And D Big's not the worst back marker to have in front of you, because he's a quick guy himself. He's not going to sort of hold you up much.
No, absolutely. See, that's the view I run. I think a lot of people like that one, don't they? The roof.
Yeah.
As Fury goes past. But I feel like I'm in there. I feel like I'm driving a van. I want to drive a van all week. I don't want to drive a van.
Fury just wide on the grass there. Sorry, Kelly.
No, not at all. So that's the one I run, but I think a lot of people like that one. Some people drive that one. I think it's hideous.
Yeah.
I think that's like driving the old Outrun game from back in the 80s.
No, I agree with you. Believe it or not, the car puts me off.
Yeah.
In that one. But
where do you run? Where do you run, Matt?
Roof.
That one?
I'm that
Roof.
one.
Yeah.
I just feel it's with it being a bit higher, I can just see if someone's coming up my inside a little bit better.
I get it why people like it. I just don't feel like I'm sat in a car, so...
Fury has dropped back from Disco Fest this last couple of laps. Just started to lap a little bit slower, and that's holding D Biggs up a little bit, I feel. Now, JR in the chat, Dan for the undercut on Mazda?
Maybe. I was just looking at that. We didn't stay on board and see how quick Daniel's stop was, because I said it before, that's
Liam again. They're
parked up, probably got a little blanket out the back, little checkered one, and a hamper, and just sat having a little bit. Maybe he's got a deck chair, Alonso like.
I think the thing for Liam in this race, get to the end, get some points in the bag.
Yeah, absolutely. Just get over it, and Dan was saying last night in the commentary, you have to pick your battles, don't you? Do you know what I mean? If it's not a strong track for you, then you just have to do your very best, and
damage limitation, isn't it?
Yeah, and it is. It's frustration,
With Liam not being able to participate in race 1.
Yeah,
just get them points in the bag, to get the points on the board, and that's that track out the way. And I know yourself, you didn't enjoy Brands Hatch, and you're glad it's kind of moved on. Dan, though, where's Mazda's just gone up second. He's past Fury in the pit lane, would you believe it? But Fury's on his way out and will be well in front of Dan.
Yeah, Dan's going to have to work hard. But Dan's in clear air, so he can crack on and make some good lap times as say Fury's out and away.
Clear air himself.
On track. clear out himself, so he can crack on as well. And Disco's still holding his own out in front and driving a steady, consistent race, leading this one.
He is, and he's got no pressure from behind now, Kelly. Now that Fury's pitted.
Oh, you know what that would mean as well? He'd have to tell me why he's called Disco Face.
It would.
If he wins, because he promised me that one, hasn't he?
Well, you've just
Disco
jinxed him.
for the win.
You've just absolutely ruined it for him now, Kelly.
Yeah, commentator's curse is real. I tell you what, let's give him a break.
Fury then.
Talking about commentator's curse, this is probably the guy that gets it the worst every time we speak about him.
Yeah. And we feel for him at times, don't we?
We do. We don't mean to do it. Maybe there's reverse psychology. Maybe we need to turn around and say, oh, I hope Peaceful doesn't do very well.
Yeah, look at how poorly he's just taken Surtees' corner there.
Yeah, that's terrible.
Yeah,
I'm surprised he's pointing in a straight line.
Excuse me.
It works.
At the minute, Jamie Brazier, I won't be able to commentate tomorrow night, Matt. Really sorry about that. No worries, Jamie. If you're not well enough to do it, it's no problem. As Disco then leads his way 14 seconds ahead of Mazda. Join us tomorrow night while we're on about that live Texas road course for the start of our IndyCar season.
Yeah,
should be an absolute fascinating one. That should. We've
exciting,
got
for sure.
7 race calendar. Daytona Oval will be in it. 5 road courses, and then we're going to end the race and do the full Indy 500, and that is Monkey Boy. No, that's Monkey Boy. I saw the black on the car, so Monkey Boy's lost it then and has lost out to BT Targa, and now loses out to Little Leach. Has Monkey Boy pitted yet? Yes, he has, so that is a pit stop done for Monkey Boy. Who hasn't pitted? Andy, Disco, Mazda, the 3 that haven't pitted yet. Then Andy obviously pitted before the pit window opened. So,
look at the state of my car. Look at it. I can't look at it anymore. I'm moving off.
So Andy then has to obviously re-pit, and I don't think that will harm him in terms of last place, because I don't think he's going to drop behind Liam in this one. Monkey Boy, will he hunt down that Renault? I think he might, as the race leader then comes into the pits at the end of lap 11. So Disco in for his stop, and how good a stop's this going to be? We'll keep our eyes on. Oh, it's a good stop.
Bad.
Look at the first white dot on your map coming around the final corner now. That is Mazda. He's still got to pit. The second way he's coming in now. The second white dot is Fury. And Disco has gapped Fury so much, so the undercut hasn't worked for him. Mazda in the pits, what kind of stop has he got? It's not great. And Dan's coming around the final corner now.
Kind of average.
I think Dan's got the undercut on Mazda there.
Yes,
JR
for
in the chat, think Dan's already passed Mazda 2 seconds a lap faster at the moment, and Dan has done Mazda and some in this race. Fury now 4 seconds ahead of Disco, so Disco overcut worked for him over Fury. Unorthodub's got the undercut on Mazda, and well, who's left to pit now? Just Andy in this race, but the Fury hunt continues now. He's got to hunt down Disco, and Dan 11 seconds off the race lead. I don't think he's going to win this one.
You say that. Fury has a bit of a moment there, but collects it all up, gets it back together. So Dan's got to hunt down his ex-teammate Fury when they were in pros together, and also both signed up as Pro Laps drivers, or then not running that those names at the moment, but both very much Pro Laps drivers. So come on, you guys, let's keep it up for the team. So Fury is pushing. He's got to catch Disco. Disco's got a nice gap now, hasn't he? Yeah. 6 seconds. He's got another half the race to do. Just got to keep it all together, hasn't he?
Yes, hasn't he, really? You just think, get it to the end now, don't you, halfway through the race?
Yeah.
You think just get it to the end?
Yeah, you look at your screen, you think to yourself, well, 6 seconds, hopefully I can maintain that gap.
Yeah.
And let's hope he does.
Andy's into the pit, so that means every driver has now finished their pit stops, and that is all done. D Biggs is gaining on the back of Phil. This for P12 and 11, and we said Mr. Consistent. Well, I don't think it was his fault, though, was he? He was caught up in that melee on the end of lap 1, but this for P11. Sure, he'd have wanted to fight a bit further up the grid. And Dom, just if you're listening, I didn't curse that one.
Oh, you just ruined this whole meeting, didn't you?
That one was not my fault. I have.
The first one was.
The first one was, but for this race, not my fault. That one wasn't. As Disco then must have made a mistake somewhere on the last lap, because a 1:31.3 is not a very fast lap time, but he still has a 6-second gap back to Fury.
Yeah, he does.
That was an out lap, wasn't it? Because he pitted at the end of lap 11, so that would have been an out lap.
Yeah.
So apologies. Disco. You didn't lose any time.
No,
you made your pit stop.
No, it's quite a fair quite a fair lap time, but as an outlap.
Team Prolapse in the chat being a bit of a shocker this track the past couple of nights. Yeah, it's brought some chaos, hasn't it, Nicky?
It has.
In the chat, Mazda did at 1:31 as well on his outlap, good time.
Fury must have dropped it.
Yes,
because Dan's in front, and it looks like Fury's got a little bit of a twisted front end to that car. So Fury must have dropped it. And Dan has capitalised on that.
Now I wonder if he's lost it, Kelly, over the curb at Hawthorne, coming through Westfields, where you can lose it and it snaps right. Because you're right, that front of that car is a little bit twisted. But Dan, 12 seconds behind Disco with Disco Face, has he got enough time? The other question is Mazda's only 6 seconds off the back of Fury, so can Mazda get himself on the podium?
Well, Dan has got to be a second a lap faster than Disco every single lap, and then overtake him.
Yeah.
So that's a lot to ask, unless Disco has a moment.
Good luck with that one, Dan.
Yeah, good luck with that one. What he will be praying for is Disco to have a moment, isn't he? That's what he's... and I'm not going to be biased and go on to Disco and try and put the commentator's curse on him. We'll see how the lap times improve. So, battles on track. What have we got? X-Mart is just coming up, starting to get into the zone of catching Monkey Boy. Yeah. And D-Biggs is catching Phil now. So they're the two closest battles on track as we speak.
Yeah, Gary kind of in the middle of both of these battles as well. He's 9 seconds in front of this, but a good 6-7 seconds off the back of X-Mart and Monkey Boy, so he's kind of in no man's land at the minute. But if Monkey Boy and X-Mart do start battling, could that bring Gary on the back of him? Hey Kelly, hope you're well, says Beth in the chat.
Oh, hello.
Oh,
Where were
now
you last night?
Fury's had another incident, Kelly.
Yeah.
Because that front end looks a lot more twisted, and Mazda's now right on the back of Fury here. Look at the front end of Fury's car.
Yeah, he's had another moment, hasn't he? For whatever reason, he's starting to struggle, and maybe the same sort of thing I was saying. After one spin, maybe his tyres weren't back to where they should be. I don't know how the Merc...
and sorry, just looking as well, going into Surtees, as the camera pans out as they come through the final corner, Biggs has got past Phil at Surtees there, so Biggs up ahead of Phil. And what's happened to Dan?
I don't know what's happened to Dan. Has he had a moment in Paddock Hill Bend, because he's managed to stay in front of these guys, but he's now 20 seconds off Disco. Disco, if you're listening to the stream, all you got to do is keep it together. You've got 20 seconds in hand, and then you'll be telling me why you are Disco McDisco Face. But Dan's obviously had a moment just out of Paddock Hill Bend, we think. So, yeah, it's now starting to catch people out now, isn't it? There's going to be a lot of people who are going to be very happy to see the back of Brown's Hatch.
I think they are, I'll tell you now. I've not been well for the last few days, says Beth in the chat. And Will Mazda be looking at Dan and thinking, right, pressure on now, mate. I'm right behind you. You've made one mistake when you had clear air. Game on now, buddy. Yep. Game on. P2 up for grabs here, because Mazda... I mean, Fury's not been dropped by Mazda.
Yeah,
Fury's still on the back of him, but... I think Fury's may
still
just...
looking racy.
Yeah, he is, but I just wonder if that damage to that car is just going to hurt him a bit the longer this race goes on.
Well, I'll let you off, Beth, if you've not been very well. As you're my #1 super fan, you can have a little bit of leeway, but make sure you're there for next week.
Yeah. She'll be there. I'll remind her, Kelly, for you, don't worry.
Yeah.
Mazda then drops Fury now, and can he get on the back of Dan? This is where Dan, we reckon, had a mistake last time around. He's gapped Mazda that little bit, and no problems this time for Dan. He's got away with it, whatever happened. Look, a 134 last time around, so a big moment for Dan somewhere. And Mazda, now that he's just gapped Fury a little bit, can now maybe stop defending and start attacking the back of Dan and put Dan back under that pressure that he was under a moment ago. Disco here really has kind of been gifted it on a plate with Dan making that. Well, he had it in the bag. He did the hard work early on and stayed out of trouble. And Disco, who, let's be honest, season 3 got caught up in quite a few dramas. Yeah, absolutely. It seemed to pan out his way for this one. And you know, he started off as leader this race, and really no one's had a major challenge on him, have they? So I mean, you know, it's nice when you look at the times and there's 20 seconds between you and the next person, but he hasn't been gifted this. Do you know what I mean? He started in the lead and he hasn't been challenged. So no, he hasn't.
Keep it up. I want to know why. I want to know about Disco.
Yeah, started P2, not in the lead. Gary obviously was on pole, but hasn't put a foot wrong since the start.
No.
And second jab illness, it seems, for Beth and Jamie.
It happens to some people, not others. Mine, I was absolutely fine with mine. Haley was ill with your first one, weren't you? Yeah. So it happens.
Yeah, I've been fine with both of mine. Bit of arm ache, but nothing unordinary. Mazda! Oh, he's got too hot into Druids and he's dropped it, trying to catch and push Dan. Maybe just a little bit too hard. He gets it flicked round. He's lost out to Fury. But what a shame, because he was looking like he was going to have a good race. Andy back in the pits. Wow, his dramas in race 2 just keep getting worse. BT is trying to get within that second gap of Peaceful Explosion, and his X-Mart has got past Monkey Boy. We didn't see that one happen. Liam back in the pits as well. I tell you what, I'm sure Liam cannot wait to see the back of this track.
As I said, I think there's going to be a few drivers. Those of you in the chat that are still here that drive Brands Hatch, hot or not? Do you like it? Do you hate it? Let us know if there's any drivers still in the chat. For me personally, I love watching it. Love when the touring cars come here. And usually end of the season, it's usually raining and miserable, and it's usually great. Last race of the season for the touring cars. But driving it, not for me. I don't like it very much at all. It's a little bit too tricky for my limited driving style. But let me know, those of you in the chat, because I'd love to know.
Indeed, we would. So Disco
this is
yet to win a race around SimPlay Motorsport.
I know. I've been waiting for it.
Yeah, and this is going to be an absolute brilliant one.
Yeah. This is the closest battle on track at the moment, although Peaceful seems to be gapping BT a little bit.
Ian in the chat, emo guy. Matt, I'm in the chat with Disco at the moment, and he says the reason behind his PSN name is honestly the best thing ever. Well,
we look forward to knowing that.
It's lap 18 of 24, and there's not long left until we can find out why. Fury still ahead of Mazda by a couple of seconds. This battle then, Peaceful's just gapped BT over the last couple of laps. The Wall saying it's hot on ACC, Brands Hatch, so he enjoys it around there. Jamie, hot, seeing as I'm the one who picked it. He's the one who picked it.
Well, you're not here, my friend, which is a shame, because I was expecting you to take a couple of wins.
Yes, and Jamie gaining on the first milestone of race wins, 25. Dan, though, now up to 17 race wins. Can Disco take his first ever win? We had a whole host of drivers last night who could have took their first win. One of them eventually did in Daniel Francis, as Argent won his 4th race here at SimPlay Motorsport. But we did have Alfie, we had Don, we had Nicky, and Peaceful.
Peaceful
has done what the biggest, what the main error of Brands Hatch can be, and that's run that curb and just drop it to the right. And that is a heavy hit. That could be some big damage. And look, already struggling at the next corner. I think Peaceful could be pitting here.
I can't watch. Watch.
I think Peaceful could be pitting. Mazda trying to get on the back of Fury once again. Dan has brought the gap down by a couple of seconds to Disco.
Yeah, so, he's gonna need a miracle to catch Disco on this one. And Disco driving a cracking race. Hasn't put a foot wrong.
No.
Right out there in front. Who haven't we much looked at?
Peaceful's in the pits.
We thought he might be. He's made a. He's put some damage in that car.
Jamie said he has won a race. Jamie said Disco has won a race. Yeah, Donington.
I don't remember.
Donington last season. So let me go back and double check.
Are you sure? I'm sure Mr. Stat, Matt Duffin, will find out.
I'm on it. Kelly, talk us through what's happening in a second, and I will find out if that
I'm
is
looking
true.
at X-Smart, who's also made a mess of the Prolapse cars. There's going to be such a spanking in the Prolapse office when Nicky sees what these two have done to these cars.
Right, Disco has had a win.
Right. So why didn't we get his...
on the win stats. I remember why we didn't do an interview. Do you remember Donington last year? It glitched out massively. On Orthodubs wasn't able to race. We was having a horrible night of it in the Pro. I think we just got to a point where it was running that late. We left the interviews just to get straight on with it.
Yeah, well, that might well have been the thing. Yeah,
that's potentially why we didn't hear from Disco on that night. Gutted, says Peaceful, and I would be as well because you've had a strong evening, Mike, and he is still in the pits. It looks like Andy may get round to overtake him as well. I'm not quite sure where Andy is in relation on track 2, Peaceful, but Monkey Boy here, P8. Kind of in no man's land, well in front of Gary, but 4 seconds behind Xmart. Here is Xmart up front. He's trying to get within a second of Little Each, and Mazda trying to get within that is within that second, sorry, of Fury. So Mazda looking to get back on the podium.
Absolutely, and Jamie's putting in capitals. No need to shout, Jamie. Okay, we've looked it up. Don't be like that. I know you're not very well, but you know, but no need to start shouting.
Yeah. Terrible, Jamie. Terrible.
Yeah.
I'll take a race win off you.
Yeah. You haven't got the power to do that anymore.
I do. I'm still league owner and outright admin. Yeah.
You can always take your ball back if you need to.
Yeah, exactly. My ball.
Your ball.
My ball. Mazda then is really gaining on the back of Fury now the longer this lap has gone on, and you can only assume that it's the damage that's causing Fury to just lose out a little bit here.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, we don't know what things are going on. We seem to have had a few people complaining about tyre pressures kind of going through the roof towards the end of the race. I certainly had it in the Renault last night. Towards the end of race 1, my tyre pressures were absolutely through the roof.
Andy's in the pits again.
He's good at it. He's good at being in the pits. What's he in for now? Oh, that BMO looks a mess, doesn't it?
Overdriving, do we think? Overdriving?
I don't know what's going on with Andy, really. He's been in the pits about 38 times in this race, so I don't know what's going on from his race 1 form to race 2. He's going to be disappointed. I think kind of all went wrong with that first big incident, didn't it? And
I reckon so. He's kind of sort of not been right since lap 1. Mazda then did have a look into Westfields there, and they come up towards the Sheen curve now. Mazda doesn't use a lot of that curb, whereas other drivers seem to use a lot, don't they? And that is very interesting to see.
Yeah, I tended to try and hop over it as much as I possibly could. Maz kind of goes right round it, doesn't he?
He does indeed then, and he's looking all over the back of Fury, and this is the part of the track where we saw earlier Mazda to Dan. Mazda looked quick at this part of the track where he was able to pull away going into Druid's corner, and he is defending hard, but it's quite easy at Druids to just brake earlier and get that undercut to get yourself set up for Druids. But Fury did a beautiful job of making sure Mazda couldn't get underneath him and couldn't get that one done.
No.
How hard will it be for him to defend if the damage is bad on the front of that car?
It's going to be tricky for sure, and maybe with 2 laps to go, maybe we should start talking about driver of the day.
Driver of the day. Bit. I've got to put one man in. No! Mazda's going slow.
Maz touch him?
I think Mazda's gave him a little. Mazda's gave him a little bump because Mazda's let him rejoin and has now rejoined this battle. I wonder if Mazda got caught out with Fury on the brakes there. He was so close to him that I don't think there was anything in that. Now, he saved himself a penalty, you'd say, by letting him come back in front.
Or just did the right thing because he felt he needed to.
Yeah, that's it. So then, we're on to the last couple of laps. Driver of the day, get your vote in the chat for who you think. It's hard to look past race 1. We start to come away from the guy that wins both races at the end of the season because you just think, well, he's been good all year. It's hard to look away from Dan after this first race, but I'm going to give my vote to Fury because I think he's been brilliant tonight.
Well, funny that. Mine's with Fury as well.
Oh, no!
BT's
disconnected. We've lost BT. He's done 3/4 distance, so will score points for 14th place. And Liam, how's your luck? Because you get an extra point then in the bag. What a shame for BT Targa. Sorry, Kelly.
My vote was with Fury as well. Dan is the reigning champion, and Fury is a champion as well, but in a different league. So close, isn't he? So close. As Bozzy gets out of the way, and look at it. Imagine if you were driving at that angle, isn't it? You can't see a thing. But for me, for my driver of the day, he's going to have a go up the inside.
Oh, he is. He's going to have another look up the inside at Surtees, and once again. And that is big damage to Fury's car. Now then, we didn't see the full picture. We just saw on board Mazda there. The door was open and Mazda had a good look up the inside there. Was it just a case of, you know, coming together?
Yeah, it's on that corner as well, isn't it? You know, as we've said, there's lots of different lines. Was Fury just taking his normal line? You know, the door was open. It's not for me to make the decision, is it? So,
no.
You know, yeah.
Not for me anymore either. It's for our official stewards team. I'll be there to review the appeal if it gets appealed, but it's down to our stewards team at the moment. And so far, that will put Mazda on the podium. Fury, then, he's just got to surely get. He's got to surely get to the end. A pit stop would lose him so many places. 10 second.
He's got 10 seconds.
Hats off to Little Each in this second race because he was awful in race 1. He's P5 at the minute.
Yeah, he's doing a steady job. We haven't talked too much about Daddy Leach, Daddy to be.
Yeah.
We haven't spoke much about him, but he's doing a solid job there. As Disco's on his last lap.
He is coming into, where's this? Down Dingle Dell and up through the Sheen curve now.
Yep.
What a job he's done. Kept Dan pretty much at 18 seconds for a while. And good job if you're Disco. We're finally going to get to hear why he is called Disco. But top race from him. He's not put a foot wrong, got a good start. And I tell you what, this is a good start to the season if you're the BMW drivers at Slingshot Motorsport. But Disco then, well on his way for his second win at SimPlay. His first that we're going to be able to hear him do an interview for. So that is what we want to see. But Disco wins this one. And I tell you what, the defending champion already, 2 podiums on the first outing of the season. That is not a bad way to start your season.
Boy's on form, isn't he?
Yeah.
Boy's on proper form at the moment. He's going to be happy with that, I reckon, after that first lap incident. That's good, solid points from Dan there. Mixed fortunes for Maz, wasn't it? He was right up there.
Up and down.
Yeah, up and down. But ultimately he's on the podium, so hopefully he should be happy enough with that.
Yeah, I can't see why he wouldn't be. You know, it's solid points. It's a third place at the end of the day. He'll take it, whether or not he feels whether or not the podium will stick. The stewards will be the ones to tell us. As Fury then is defending. Well, he's not defending. They're going to get a bit of a team photo here. I wouldn't be flashing too much. Little Leach is coming, but I think he's going to run out of time. As Fury then will cross line 4th. Little Leach, and after 13th in race 1, will come home P5. Better result for him. Exmart a P6, 6th and 5th tonight. So a very good debut in the pro for Exmart. Good stuff from him. Gary, P7, work to do in that Renault, if you ask me, for the Renault boys. Work to do for them too then. He's come across there. Look at Monkey Boy, heavily defending from D-Biggs right at the end here. And he's going to just do D-Biggs for 9th place, for 8th place. D-Biggs 9th then, with Phil in P10. Fastest lap of the race. Peaceful as well came across the line in P11. And P12 was Andy. Not the race after his first one. That Bozzy Boy 13th. We lost BT Targa after he disconnected, but did get 3/4 distance, so we'll score 14th place points and come away with 2 points for 2 points for that one. Fastest lap of the race, 24.4. 24.4, and that will be in the way of Dan.
No, it doesn't. Yeah.
So Dan getting the fastest lap in this one comes away with 1 bonus point. And who's that we've just got in the chat? I saw Mazda join.
Disco's here, I think.
Disco's in. Right, so we'll speak with Mazda. We'll start with 3rd place while we wait for Dan to hopefully join us as well. Mazda, 3rd place, but bit of argy-bargy with Fury at the end. Sorry, I can't hear you.
It's going to stewards, I think. You know, like you said, argy-bargy. So, yeah.
Third place.
Great race. I apologise to Fury for that. He was defending beautiful. I just thought, right, I've already hit him there on the previous lap, so I backed off lane pass and they were right, let's go again. And obviously I should have backed out a bit, but I thought, you know, it's coming to like second to last lap or last lap, I've got to go for it. And he turned in and he lost his front wing. He's not his front wing, his rear wing. And I was like, what? We only a slight contact, and he's lost his rear wing. I thought, okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Good pace tonight though, mate. Second race. You had a good fight with Dan early doors, good fight with Fury at the end, but it's nice to see you back on the podium.
Yeah, mate, it's great. It's great to be back on the podium, especially for Iron Brew Racing, you know, back with them. So yeah, let's hope we can continue this pace and move on.
Well, best luck, mate. We'll see you next week.
Well done.
And we've got Dan in as well. Dan, race 2 that didn't start your way at all on that first lap, but what a recovery for P2.
Yeah, I'm not quite amused by the start of that race. But hey, it was a great recovery. Got back to the podium. I was catching Disco at one point, made a silly error, and that was it. I couldn't catch him, so fair play to him. He had that covered basically. But first lap really did hurt me, damage it all the way through the race as well. So holding that damage to the end. So yeah, it's good points, good start to the season. I can't complain.
Yeah, you had a good recovery. What did happen at the start, at the end? Can you talk us through it at the end of lap 1?
So that quick right-hander that's blind, I can never remember the name of it, but that quick right-hander that's blind, Phil would drop the Lambo. So I'd reacted to him and slowed right down.
Yeah.
So I had nowhere to go. I couldn't go left nor right. He was literally right in front of me. And next thing I know, I see Liam come flying up behind me and hit the back of me. No intention to stop, no nothing, and that was it. Carnage happened. So I just think some drivers just need to be aware of what's going on lap 1. We don't need to be having silly incidences. Fair play to Phil. He dropped it, and I tried to avoid him, but there was literally nowhere to go.
Now, what was the damage like on your car? Because it looked at one stage that when you was behind Mazda, you seemed to not be able to get past him as quick as you'd have liked, especially trying at Paddock and Druids. Was the damage bad, or...?
I had 9 on the downforce on the front, so I was understeering quite a bit in certain corners, mainly turn 1 and just after the dip. Those 2 corners, I was understeering quite bad. But other than that, that was the real main damage, a bit of engine damage, but I kind of got away lightly with it. I was amazed that I did get away with as much as I did.
Well done, mate. We look forward to seeing you next week. Great driving tonight.
Nice one, Duff. Well done.
Thank you, and congrats to Disco again.
And we've got Disco in the chat, and Kelly, I'll let you take this one.
Well done, mate. I have been looking forward to this for some time. We had some chat on the YouTube that this was going to be your first win, but it isn't your first win, is it?
No, it's not.
No, you had one at Donny.
You didn't get me before.
Yeah, well, we talked about that, and that was the night we were having all kinds of weird things happening with the PlayStation Network or whatever, and we didn't get that opportunity. So, cracking good race tonight. So tell me, why Disco McDisco Face?
You're going to be really disappointed, Kelly. I just like disco music, and I'm Scottish. That's it, really. Disco Face. It's kind of...
Right, well, lovely you can join us, Disco. Thanks very much. What kind of disco music? What, 70s disco?
Yeah, old school disco.
Old school, like Earth, Wind and Fire and Chic and
I've seen
stuff like that. I'm not disappointed with that at all. I'm over the moon about that because I love 70s disco. Anyway, Matt, would you like to take over and say something sensible?
Yeah, great race from yourself. You qualified P2, got it done with Gary early doors, and you didn't really look behind you after that one, did you?
No, not really. That was kind of the plan. I knew I could get the launch on the Renault from the start, and then if I could get into turn 1, probably just block off the racing line and stick to a pace. Come and get me if you can.
Yeah, Fury tried his best before his... he seemed to outdo him in the pit stops by going longer. And then, obviously, with the incident at the end of turn 1, Dan was just too far behind. And really, all the bad luck you've had from Season 3, you've kind of started Season 4 on a bit of a good note.
Yeah, well, I don't know. The race 1 wasn't exactly fantastic. I got as far as turn 1 before I met gravel again. So, but I don't think there was any malice in that. It was just a rubbing the cars, etc.
Yeah.
But no, it's a good start. Good to get off with some good points on the board. And yeah, game on, Dan. Let's play.
Oh,
excellent.
Well,
sounds good.
Here we go.
Boy.
Well, well done, Disco.
Let's get the mirror ball out, shall we? And let's get down.
I've got Disco and Andy coming for my. So here we go.
Yeah.
Well done, buddy.
Some yellow cars for competition now.
We look forward to seeing you out there battling again next week. We'll be back live tomorrow night with the Indy cars around Texas Road Course. We'll be back on Monday night as well for the Renault Clios, where Unorthodox leads the way in that one. Reverse grid night though for them. And we'll be back live for the Pro-Am and the Pro Series next Wednesday, live from Dubai, which we had recently a few weeks ago, if you remember, about 6-7 weeks ago, in the night. This one's middle of the day, so this one's going to be an interesting one. Tyre could be a juicy one to watch. Join us for that one then, as the title hotting up already in the first race. And I don't think Dan's going to have it as easy as he's had tonight. The season continues, though. And Kelly, final words from yourself?
Great to be back, Matt, looking forward to the rest of the season, to racing the season, and to commentating on the pros. I think we're going to have a hell of a battle. Anybody watching, tell your friends, get involved now, start following the season, because I think the pro season is going to be absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, I think you're right there. I don't think Dan or one or two drivers are going to have it as easy as they had in seasons before. We'll be back, though, tomorrow night. Join us at 8 p.m. BST. From all of us here at SimPlay Motorsport, have a great evening. Take care and good night.
Thank you. Good night.
Okay.
Clear.
Good race, guys.
Yeah, well done, mate.
Well done, mate. You basically did what I did in race 1.
Yeah. Well, Andy and I had the opposite races. He had a shit race 2, I had a shit race 1. We just kind of flipped it.
Nah, fair play, mate. And you didn't make any mistakes either, so I couldn't get you.
I didn't realise the championships then.
You started to catch the pace on me when, like I say, I wasn't pushing the pace out. I had 20-second gap, and it was like, wow.
Yeah, I went into paddock, and I just overcooked it a little bit too much, and that was it. I was like, nah, I can't catch him. I was bringing the gap down again, but it was just, you were gone.
Yeah, I was just cruising at that point, trying not to make any mistakes. Kelly had already cursed me.
No, I kept coming off you. I kept coming off because I didn't want to mess it up for you. And
I heard about 4 of them. 4 mentions.
Right. Yeah, that's it. And I kept saying, no, let's not stick with him.
Good race, guys.
Next week, 9th.
No, right, guys, I've got a pizza sitting here and have been for 20 minutes. I'm going to go and inhale that.
Yeah. You look out now, Disco, because I'm going to come up with as many Disco titles